Listening to or watching Reforge Gaming covering the Sea of Thieves, the revival of Season 9. They are going to be doing this live stream. We are going to co-stream it. I've been a big Sea of Thieves fan for a while, and I wanted to cover this with you guys because I'm continuing to look for good changes with PvP as well as PvE. I would love to play this game consistently with my wife or even on stream. Have always kind of struggled with being able to do that, so we're going to watch this and see what's upcoming. If you guys want to come with me, click the link in chat. I'm going to end the previous stream about PlayStation and how they can compete, and I'm going to bring everybody over. And make sure as you come over, you smack that like button, even if you're watching the past broadcast. That will be very, very helpful. It looks like they're jumping right in.
Hello, this is Thieves' 5th anniversary and Season 9 preview stream. We have a boatload of exciting stuff for you here today, and I can't wait to get dug in. So we've assembled just a few of the key developers who were instrumental in bringing Sea of Thieves to life, and we're ready to reminisce a little in the last 5 years and ask them about why they're excited for the future of Sea of Thieves. And sticking with anniversary, we've pulled together an amazing array of activities for you to get involved in. So in our run up to the 5th anniversary on the 20th of March and beyond, and we'll be detailing those right here today. But do stay tuned, as after we've finished with that, we'll be heading on to talking about Season 9 and what we've got in store for you right there, and debut that first Season 9 content update trailer. But without further ado, let's get started. And at this point, the crew around me should need no introductions, but for those of you who may not be familiar with the people around the table, if you'd all like to introduce yourselves, and give me your favourite content update of the last 5 years.
Oh, that's tough. God. So Jody, executive producer. I'm not God. And then favourite content update. It's God.
Why wouldn't you prepare for this?
I'm going to go with Shrouded Spoils. Ooh. Just because of it just felt like it brought everything together, and the seas felt so different, and it kind of really felt like a real step forward and a real kind of achievement at the kind of end of that first year, and led to some great stories, great moments and stuff. So yeah, but that's the one I kind of look back on that was like, we reference it a lot, I think, as part of our conversations. Yeah. But there's a lot to choose from.
Yeah, there is. I'm Mike Chapman, I'm creative director, and my favourite content update, I would say Anniversary. I think that end of that first year of trying to enrich the game with new experiences, the Megalodon, Curse Sales, new world regions, and then kind of ending it with kind of the variety of content that we added in Anniversary. It felt like we set out to prove a point, and I think that felt like a really big milestone to hit. But yeah, I'll say Anniversary.
It was the best named update as well, wasn't it? Because it didn't come out on Anniversary.
That is true. I'd forgotten that conveniently.
We got away by announcing it on Anniversary and naming it Anniversary, but it was about a month later.
I remember.
Nailed it.
I'd forgot about that anxiety completely.
I'm looking like I've forgotten my name. I'd remember it. I'm Christina. I'm the head of community and communications. And my favourite update is also Anniversary, because I joined the team around the time that Anniversary was coming out. And there was such a buzz from a community perspective and also in the studio about the future of Sea of Thieves. So it was just a really good moment where I was like, what a decision I've made. Well done me. I'm in the right place at the right time. It was really lovely moment to come into the studio at that moment. So that's got to be my favourite update for slightly more personal reasons.
Cool. So I'm Ryan Stevenson, art director. I think my favourite one, I think I'm going to get the name right, is Curse Sales. Yeah. Which is the Skelly ships. I always know the code names. But yeah, when we added Skelly ships into the Sea of Thieves, I think that was just such a different kind of feeling. Really, really early one as well. So, and it was in reaction to all the players wanting something else to go and shoot other than other players because they'd just all made friends fighting the Meg.
That's right. Yeah. We said we weren't going to do that. Every cell on the horizon was another player, but I think we got to keep that magic of players in the world, but add what you want, right? It was the chance to have ship battles more frequently, and that sense of inhabiting the world with skeletons as well is pretty cool.
John, what's yours? Don't think you escaped.
I was hoping because my name comes up at the start, I wouldn't have to introduce myself, therefore I wouldn't have to say it. But season 8, I really enjoyed season 8. Like, I loved the on-demand PvP stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and I loved the new like Reaper's Lair and Athena's Lair stuff. Like, it was just awesome. And the kind of, I don't know, like that whole update just felt huge. Like at the end of last year, it just felt massive. So
Had everything.
it
Very
really
well
did.
rounded. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe no one said skeleton thrones.
Or stools
the-
or sitting.
Stools are up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Skeleton Thrones.
It was great. I loved it.
It was
Like,
good.
It's a bit hard.
Just,
a bit.
just a little bit.
Part of that balancing, tuning kind of stuff that we got a little bit better at.
Yeah.
As
We did.
we
It
went,
was certainly
but,
quite unique, wasn't it?
It was great.
Yeah, it was good.
On the,
Was that the first one we did?
It was the very first
It
one.
was,
First
wasn't
one,
it?
yeah.
Massive chairs.
What a
that-
way to set
tons
a
of
stall. Just a way to start. As you mean to go on?
Set out a stall.
Yeah, set out a stall to sit on. Yeah. Just do really big ones, and you can sit on it with your crew. No, we love Skeleton Thrones.
Honestly,
it
it's
was
great.
good.
It was,
It was a
brilliant.
novel way to begin a content strategy.
Yeah.
It was. We should
Great
be
fun.
quite proud of that.
I know, I love
It was
it.
a lot of
It's
fun.
so but it's so unique. It's so like again,
very-
like who would do that?
It
Right.
is.
Right.
It's
We're gonna
true.
put chairs in it.
It's,
But
it's
great.
very us.
You can still like encounter people in the world.
I
And
know,
they'll be
I
like,
still-
come and do this with
I
me.
know.
And
Get a
it's
little
like-
chuckle inside when you sail past just a
Yeah.
throne on a rock stack. I do. I get a little warm feeling inside.
It's great.
Yeah, it's
love
great.
well, since you're in that era of reminiscing, let's get started with Joe. Tell us what Sea of Thieves has meant to you over the last 5 years.
What has Sea of Thieves meant to me over the last 5 years? The question, quite a lot, like a wide range of emotions. But like launch was an interesting, challenging experience, right? And I think, like you said about anniversary, like that kind of first year. I think you've said this before, and I'll steal it. It's a soundbite, but that kind of like that point to prove was kind of the energy I think we had in the studio. But to see kind of to culminate in that anniversary period, and then to see just the kind of the different ways that we've evolved this world, and how the community's evolved, the stories we've heard, it just like it's magical, isn't it? Like that when you really sit down and actually take it in, what we've managed to accomplish as a team and as a studio, and again to see the size of the community that's grown and what the game means to the community. Like it means the world, doesn't it? Right? But it does. Like you never really get a chance to slow down and think about it, right? And kind of reflect, because you're always like, what's next? What we're doing? And I think it's just an incredible achievement, incredible accomplishment. And I know we always said at the start, like Sea of Thieves is going to run forever, or like we've got plans for 10 years or whatever. So we're halfway there, aren't we? But,
yeah.
like,
It's true.
but it's great. So yeah, it means a lot.
Yeah, Ryan.
Oh, me next. Yeah, it's a really hard one because it's been such a huge journey, kind of going on that kind of adventure with everyone. And I think the interesting thing was, as a team, kind of everyone on it has changed so much through that and developed like people's careers and what they can do and expertise, and kind of just the artistry of it is just kind of like skyrocketed at the studio. The studio's changed so much as well. So not only is the world evolved, but our studio has changed around Sea of Thieves and embraced what it can do to the world. And I think that's the fantastic kind of thing. But more than anything, I always take away the kind of like that moment of when we were releasing things or trying to kind of up against it. We knew we wanted to do something magical with it, and we kind of like each update, we kind of just unlocked a bit of that potential and that magic as we went along. And that was why it was always surprising when we brought something. It feels like a blur. We've done so much in such the time as well.
Yeah. Honestly, I've always wanted to work on a game I could pour my soul into, and I really mean that. Like a game that had me in it, and I think I'm so glad that game has been Sea of Thieves. And I actually don't think I say this enough, but the fact that we've been able to do that, but I've shared it with you, and I've shared it with you. I think, not to say we weren't friends at the start, and everyone, really, John behind the camera there, I think acquaintances and colleagues have become true friends as part of sharing this experience together. And that's almost the bit I don't say. But the fact that we've shared that together, and all of the memories that we can think of together, that I think people have grown really close, and almost that camaraderie that we have together has ended up in the game. And I'm just so proud that these relationships that have formed over these years, that's part of Rare now, and that's part of the studio, and that's going to make what we do in the future even better. So, yeah, the
You made
personal
me cry at
relationship.
the start before the end.
But I think, to your point, it's not just your soul. It feels like a part of everyone's soul in the studios in this game. And that's my favourite thing. It's like there are just little things that you experience on the day-to-day, whether it's in-game or in the studio or on Teams or wherever, that you just like, this is going to sound really cliche. This is home now. It's not colleagues, it's friends. It's a safe place where you can have ideas and go do amazing things with an amazing group of people who are all as invested as you are. And I think that's incredibly rare, actually. I don't think many people get to say that of like a traditional workplace, and we're incredibly lucky every day to come in and do what we do.
You're spot on. Like who we are and how we see the type of games that we want to make. I think it's immortalised in Sea of Thieves. And if Sea of Thieves is the representation of who Rare is, I think we should be proud of that.
Oh yeah.
We done?
That's how John just deals with uncomfortable emotions. Just got to do something.
Say something.
Break the atmosphere.
I'm most fascinated by is the idea of why it was so successful for us, feeling kind of like that camaraderie. Is the fact the game had crews at its heart. Yeah. So us all on that journey together, it just kind of, you were making things for people to come together, and it just naturally happened at the studio as well.
It's true. We became the Goonies at the end, didn't
That's
we?
it.
Yeah. We became the Goonies.
Adventure,
Who's Sloth coming home with? Who's going to be there at the end? Just watch the ship sail away and just swim after it.
So this question, Mike, can you talk us through some of the approaches taken during the updates and how, our approach has changed to how we update the game and how we've ended up at seasons and adventures and so on?
That is, and I'll try and keep this as concise as possible, because there's a lot in that over the 5 years. I think thinking back to 2018 and that first year, going back to what Joe was saying about having a point to prove, and we've said many times, we famously tore up the roadmap and we defined a new path for what 2018 to 2019 would be. And I think I look back on that first year, I'm sure we all do. It was very much about just bringing richness to the shared world. So we had our content updates, Hungering Deep, adding the Megalodon, Cursed Sails, Ryan's favourite, adding the skeleton ships. We had Forsaken Shores, Shrouded Spoils, and then ending in Anniversary. And I think all of those were there to kind of bring that sandbox to life. I think Shrouded Spoils did that the most effectively, that for that first time you could walk out the tavern and there'd be opportunities on the horizon. And you knew along the way, if you get attacked by a Kraken or attacked by a Megalodon, it's going to help you on that journey to Pirate Legend. But even the things we did as part of learning how to run a live service, like the Bills Rat Adventures, we designed those to add that richness to the shared world as well. So maybe Skeleton Thrones is the odd one out here. But Gunpowder Skeletons, the mermaid statues, these were examples of trying to just bring in little mechanics to add to that richness of the shared world. And then Anniversary really capping off that first year with something we never prototyped, but really felt like we'd done everything, but we didn't have that answer for players who wanted more story. And we added fishing as well, and cooking, and obviously we added arena.
All right, I'm just going to interject a little bit here. You guys got to stop the console or my chat, or you're going to get banned. Number two, they're being too self-indulgent. Like, I love that there's passion and that they're, like, reminiscing, but, bro, this is supposed to be about Season 9 in the future. Like, we're what, 13 minutes in now, and it's just reminiscing and back-patting? Come on, man. This is too self-indulgent. Do this at the end of the stream.
That regular delivery of new content. I think early on we were a little bit more unpredictable in when Sea of Thieves would be updated, and it was always key to us that people could get excited for what was coming next. And I think that led to our thinking with seasons, where roughly every 3 months you're going to get that additional content. And where we look, well, from where we are today, looking forward, I think it's a mix of course, we want to keep adding new content that enriches the sandbox, but we also want to create new ways to interact with that sandbox. So captaincy and what will be coming in the future, new ways to experience the world of Sea of Thieves, alongside enriching the sandbox so more people can have a greater variety of stories in the Sea of Thieves world. And I better stop because it'll keep going.
I'm impressed how much you remembered.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what year's Build-Your Adventures were. I'm just like,
It was Skeleton Thrones was the very first one.
Was it?
It
Wow,
was.
wow.
It was very soon after launch.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Hungry and Deep came out in May.
Yeah.
And we'd launched in March. It was amazing, like how quick we turned that around. And we hadn't.
And added Merrick as well.
Merrick?
Yeah.
That first
lives
trailer
on.
was awesome. I
Yeah.
remember like, when we pulled that together. That was
Yeah.
awesome seeing that. Well, we've been talking about it here today, but obviously we want everyone else to experience it and throughout anniversary. So starting today on March 6th, we are going to be doing Marauders Medley because we love alliteration. Running to the Thursday the 16th of March at 10 a.m. It's a 10-day anniversary event where we honour some of the key updates over the last year with some nice and simple live events. Each moment, which is a 48-hour period, if you log in, there'll be some activity for you to go do and unlock some cosmetic rewards along with that. So players will also be rewarded with gold and renown as part of the event. So get on there, log in, start now, go for the next 10 days.
Yeah, I'll
But
get some sleep during that time though. I would
Yeah.
Yeah, I like his accent a lot. I have a friend from Ireland who sounds a lot like him.
That's a bit dark, isn't it?
It also helps that he's good looking.
slogans for the office. Like, just put them around. Yeah.
So I'm going to start this one off myself, but I'm going to pass it around, obviously, the table afterwards. But we wanted to create a game that was as fun to watch.
He's Scottish. He sounds so much like my friend who's Irish.
And obviously our amazing creative community and our partners and stuff have been essential to the ongoing success of Sea of Thieves over the last 5 years. But I'm going to pass it to you, Joe, and say, like, how did it manifest? Like, where did that come from?
Players creating stories together, right? And which kind of almost morphed into tools, not rules, right?
It
The,
did.
the internal kind of
Yeah.
conversations. Yeah. But it came from that, like being inspired by games that gave people freedom, right? And gave people control over their experiences, sandbox, multiplayer, really wanting to just kind of empower players with the tools that we gave them and see what would kind of happen, right? And see what interesting stories would come out of it. And I think having that as the absolute like mantra and kind of thing that just fed every conversation, every single, like, especially early on, like it's ingrained in everyone now,
Yeah.
right? But it was like that first sort of 6-12 months it was just every single conversation. I remember it so vividly. Was always like, right, we're going to go design X. It's like the boat was probably the best example,
Yeah.
right? But like,
Yeah.
how do we go make this fun for a crew and not just whoever's on the wheel is having the best time and everyone else is just like, gotta have a go. So it was like, can it be fun to be in the crow's nest? Can it be fun to be on the cannons? Can it be fun to repair? Like, and also then the life on the ship and entertaining each other. But all of that was because of that original spirit and original thing. And it was like, just give people that control and let them create stories, because that's going to be interesting and out of our scope to kind of create. It's like, hand it over to people, hand them control of this world, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, shows the importance of like, how a simple statement like that can guide every decision that you make, and it's far more nuanced than just, hey, we're going to go make a pirate game and that's going to kind of be the judging stick for what we build. It really isn't. It's that vision statement of players creating stories together. And
well, we had that before pirates was even a thing. It was that idea of that, and then the piracy.
It's
kind of
rapper.
just kind of came together beautifully,
and it amplified it.
Yeah.
I think the idea of the being in that world and sharing it with others, being a part of a crew and being bonded as part of a crew. But as Joe said, that kind of the evolution of that, or what's true to that spirit, is that tools, not rules, design philosophy that we've always followed. And there's been many times where the way forward hasn't been clear and we've got multiple ways to go. But picking the option that's going to create the most stories, that's going to create more interest in the shared world, is always the right one. And that's been proven true time and time again to how crews share rewards, the physicality of loot items in the world. All of these things are simple choices, but in a shared world, they become a catalyst for stories. So the fact that we have a partner program. The fact that a game is fun to watch, that was built in right from the start, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right from the very start.
What I think I love about it is not just fun to watch, like streamers play the game, but it's so accessible. The fun. It's not necessarily skill capped. You can have a swabby log in, have a really dorky, amazing experience, and it's trended on Reddit. It's trended on Sea of Thieves. Like, it's spotlighted.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of it as well. Like, there are so many tools that don't necessarily require skill. It just requires a bit of heart or a bit of camaraderie to set it kind of alight. And I think that's the really beautiful thing that we on the community.
I swear, companies need to hire live streamers, like you're sitting here talking about live streaming. Hire a live streamer to help you produce and orchestrate a show like this, because you guys are absolutely not approaching a live show like this in a good way. Like, this is so structured poorly. No one cares about this right now. We're tuning in for the new season and the new content plan, not backpatting and celebrations about how great things have been.
Such a lovely thing to be able to see, especially for me and my team, just on the front line of this kind of stuff every day. It's just starting work and you've seen a dorky clip of like a player, I think it was Beardley or Beardageddon. You can't be trusted.
Don't.
I think I know the one it was. I think.
Yeah, where they just swap ships
It was,
and chase cosmetics.
It was Beardley and
Just
Mads. Yeah,
Incredible. Imagine just starting your working day being like, that is ridiculous and amazing. Like, this is what we facilitate on the day-to-day. Amazing.
And I remember, like, when we were doing the weekly streams, like, when you meet people who just lean into, like, what the game offers.
Yeah.
And what was his name?
Chocolatey. Yeah, Chocolatey. That was the one I went. Yeah.
And he was just, like, stranded on that island. We tried to keep him for the entire game.
And he stayed with us the whole thing, didn't he?
with us.
Didn't talk, but just stayed with us the whole time. And then we lost him during a battle, didn't we? And it was like traumatic. The fact that literally I knew what you were going to mention there as well. Like, it's like that exact thing. Yeah. Like, yeah.
And so, like, I love that when people, like, really lean in and role play and get involved in the game. And, like, that's when you see, like, awesome moments, and those things really pop
It's the surprises as well, where people take the tools or the other kind of things and just use it in a different way. There was recently I saw someone put together a Coraline picture of Coraline from the film on a beach out of kind of objects. It was insane.
Yeah.
Kind of like that coming into the Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Bonkers.
It goes back to your point. It feels, when people share those stories, they're effective because they're so deeply personal. They're yours, because we haven't designed that bit. No. We designed the stage and we designed the pieces and the set dressing, and it's up to you to bring it to life.
And if you want to make this your first time for streaming for Sea of Thieves and you want to get out there, we've got Twitch drops for everyone. That's going to be happening from Thursday the 16th of March right through to Monday the 20th of March, where we'll be giving drops away for anyone who decides to get online on Twitch and stream Sea of Thieves. So get on there if it's your first time, best time to do it.
I like, by the way, that like this year's anniversary plans are now starting before anniversary, which I think shows a real like just evolving maturity,
discipline,
our capabilities, our preparedness. Like, it's just like, the fact that we can.
It's
actually
not April.
It's like I just think that shows the steps we've made in those 5 years.
We're not in an art review going, wait a minute, we need to make a cosmetic.
We've evolved.
Indeed.
Speaking about cosmetics, that was a great segue. It was like, I almost knew it was coming. So, can you talk?
Thank you for TJ Rage for the 5 spot.
Since launch.
So how they've evolved kind of hugely. So when we first started out, it was we knew we wanted pirates to go into the world and dress themselves how they wanted to and represent themselves how they want to. So we made a system where they could just buy anything they want from the stores and have that whole kind of experience of going to a shipwright and getting a figurehead that feels like it's part of the world. And then as we slowly moved on from that, we wanted to expand the fantasy of Sea of Thieves. But what I love about it is we always gave that Sea of Thieves spin to all the cosmetics. So, for example, where we brought other IPs into the world, for example, like Borderlands, when we brought that ship set into the Sea of Thieves, it had to feel like the design had been like a whisper on the wind that had gone into the ear of a shipwright somewhere, and they'd kind of like imagine this ship, had brought it to life, and then put it into the world. Yeah, so that whole exploration. But we always return back to the core pirate kind of fantasy and kind of role play as well. With so each season we want to make sure that there's something that's novelty, something for our core players, something for legends, and so every single kind of update we have a look and try and make sure we've covered all the bases.
And the sheer amount of cosmetics
Yeah.
now, like each season, right? Like,
There's a lot. And it keeps expanding.
Don't look at me.
Yeah, so it's always been that thing of we've done the store, and then we added the Emporium, and then we've added kind of the season track, and then we added the Plunder Pass. And so yeah, so but really it's kind of opportunities for each one to be slightly different, and they each serve a different purpose for our players.
And as you were listeners, that was like, can look at me. That's like,
But we've taken it in our stride. We've got very good at making Sea of Thieves things. So yeah.
Guys, I am sorry. I do not know why companies do this. I don't know why they won't just talk about the season and the content plan. They've wasted 25 minutes of our time at this point.
Obviously, we can see what people are kind of connecting with, and that's why we have a lot of black and red sets. That's our kind of go-to color if we need to have a set that people love. That's what we'll do. But yeah, it's really we just kind of like each kind of like update. We have a look at what's kind of connecting with players. Also, we try and make sure that there's a nice spread as well. So there's cosmetics there for a smaller player base that may really love, for example, like the Pinata set. That's something that's kind of very colourful and bright and connects with people that like Pinata. And then you've got the Killer Instinct set that's for kind of like edgy people that want to kind of be a bit more aggro. So yeah, so we just evolve it as time goes on with players.
I love the experimentation that we do as well, because we always want to try new things,
Yeah.
right? So, forgive me if I get the name wrong. Was it the Lodestar? Is that the step?
Yes.
Yeah. But like that's kind of space kind of thing. Like, but I love that, the color, the brightness, and again, that's connected really well with people, right? So it's just I just love when we go try something really different, really out there, but really allows the team to be super creative and really have some fun with it, right? I think those kind of things are
It's a
just
really popular one. That
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
We didn't really expect it to be really popular. It was that we wanted to do something different from kind of the dark and edgy, but something with a bit more imagination in there. And we also wanted to test ourselves, so it's got like more glowy elements and kind of floaty parts.
Yeah.
So yes, that was a real push. But then, yeah, players absolutely love it.
The team did a wonderful job with that one. And honestly, it's kind of a breath of fresh air, really. I think it would be unfortunate if the only sets that were popular were the dark and edgy ones. We want that variety. We want the texture in the world, and some things a little bit lighter, some things a little bit darker. So it's great to see Lodestar.
Yeah, I'm loving all the like going through the tech art folders and seeing all the previews.
Do you do that too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, interesting. There's been an art review this week. What's next?
But seeing some of the work that the team's doing on those things to make them properly pop is awesome. Like even the stuff with the gold coins falling out of the.
Oh, yeah, that was a journey.
Yeah.
Like getting that so it actually looked right. At the first version of it, we just had kind of a rather flat texture, and it just didn't feel great in the world. And then I love the fact someone noticed that it's affected by gravity.
Yeah,
It's like,
amazing.
Yeah.
you noticed it. Well done.
Detail.
It was worth it.
Like another thing we're aware of as well is, as Ryan's saying, the Pirate Emporium being that kind of exotic place to get these things imported into the Sea of Thieves and exploring different themes and styles. Like we also kind of hear the feedback that people just want cool piratey wear, and that's something that's good for us.
No, we want information. That's what we tuned in for. Not self-indulgent, like bragging on yourselves. Come on. You want to do that for 5 minutes at the beginning? Fine. We're 28 minutes in.
Deliver those like cool pirate looks. So
I mean,
more to come there.
Yeah, that's something to note as well, is that we have in the background often been kind of putting things into the kind of the normal shops, things that we've missed, like we added skirts. That was something that we were missing for a long time. We expanded on certain different colour SKUs of clothing as well that we had kind of like almost done, but we weren't quite finished with it. And then we just finished off that work and put that into the store as well.
It's crazy to think the amount of things like types of different things that we've added over the period of the years, because it's thinking back on when we had scars and tattoos and hair dyes and all these things that were added.
And then we've added skeleton transformation as well,
Yes.
which was
Amazing.
fun.
Your eyes twitching, right?
Trying to work out how to do that. That was good.
Team nailed it.
But if you want to try out some of this stuff for yourself as well during the anniversary period, we have got an anniversary discount sale over at the Emporium between Friday the 17th of March at 10 a.m. and Tuesday the 28th of March at 10 a.m. So there's a wide range of stuff that's going to be on sale over there. You can even go on and claim a freebie emote, which is down the hatch.
Can you mind it for us now?
I would be doing it an injustice. It requires me to stand up.
So were you not the animation
I
rep
was
for that one? You've been retired.
I've been
now.
retired.
You've been retired.
Yeah.
You did such a great
Yeah,
job.
I've
You've done so many of them.
Put around the back. And we'll also be bringing back the Reaper's Mark sales. It'll be on sale for 499 ancient coins. It's basically a bargain.
No, basically, just absolutely.
It is.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. I love those sales.
They're iconic.
They are.
They're iconic.
Yeah, and they'll be on sale for a limited time. So they're
Like your animation reference, iconic.
It was iconic. It was
Every
iconic.
time I use that, I'm like, that's John, that is. I've seen him do that.
You actually come across, talking about putting soul into the game, you come across in those emotes. You
do.
Anything that's slightly camp is probably me.
There he is.
So, Mike, we've reached 5 years.
we have.
We've reached 5 years, and well, not quite yet.
And
We've
then-
got 14 days to go.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's that.
14 days to go. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But anything could happen. But where do you see Sea of Thieves' future? Do you think we're going to be sitting back here in 5 years' time again?
not what we tuned in for!
Great.
I think we will. To crib a line from a deck, I think the bold future for Sea of Thieves, showcasing the social magic of what only a unique multiplayer game like ours can provide. And that's the future. And I think, to kind of go into a bit more detail, Sea of Thieves, inspired by that core vision of players creating stories together, is the ultimate pirate fantasy. So we'll always look at ways to enrich the delivery of that pirate fantasy to players. If you love pirates, our game should have something for you. And I think that's what we're really inspired by when we look to the future. I think that tools not rules philosophy of new tools and mechanics in the world that keep the sandbox fresh, give you more story possibilities. I think that's our bread and butter, as it were. We're always going to do things like that. But beyond that, it's about opening up the game to more players. So allowing new experiences in the world so you can experience Sea of Thieves in a way that suits you. So that will involve, there'll be, the world will move on and the storytelling of the world will move on, but also new ways that you can play, new ways that you can interact with that sandbox. So I'm saying a lot of things without trying to give too much away. But that core vision, the heart of the game is always players creating stories together. That is the beating heart of Sea of Thieves. But we just want to bring more people into that experience. And for players that have been with us since the very start, we want to give you new, unexpected things. We don't just give you the same things that we've given you before. We want to give new ways for you to enjoy the Sea of Thieves world. So very, very exciting. And 5 years is a major milestone, but there's still too much to do. There's just an endless amount of ideas and things that we keep moving around on our long-term roadmap. There's just stuff we wish we could have in the game today if we could. It's going to take time, but
Yeah. But we've been in meetings recently, like
I've eaten my entire lunch and they haven't said anything. So I mean, this is remarkable. They liked what I said.
That's it's like that. That'll get us there. Like so.
Yeah, no slowing down.
Slowing down. Like honestly, it's cool. Like it really is. It's like
No,
what,
it is.
what we always said. Right? It's like we'll get there. Like it's amazing.
In 10 years, we'll be like, right, next 5.
Or just like, time for a rest.
And I'll take you around the back.
With lots of grey hair.
while you're getting pulled out, I'm just in shock. And the golden age of piracy is still to come.
We're just getting started.
Just deal with him first.
Well, take us at least up to March 20th, which is the anniversary itself. We do have a couple of in-game activations. I've got them written here. In-game.
So piratey.
Yeah.
Really aspirational.
Straight from a PowerPoint, that, isn't it?
So for all of you that I know you always look forward to this, the Griffin figurehead login bonus will be there from Friday the 17th
What?
of
No, but-
March at 10 a.m. all the way through to Wednesday the 22nd of March at 10 a.m. So yeah, get on there. There's lots and it just keeps coming. But
Do I get a bonus for watching this
that's so
stream?
Christina, because I know you've got a bunch to run through here. And you see better than most, like how the community and how it forms around the game. How do you describe how the Sea of Thieves community has changed over the years that you've been here?
Nobody cares about this.
So I think the one thing that stayed the same, the Sea of Thieves community is a unique community, just full of heart and good vibes. And that's so, again, like rare.
Where?
Really from a multiplayer shared world game. Thank you for tilting that.
I'll tell that.
Very good. That's really helpful. That's really lovely. I appreciate that. You can make the font a bit big. No. The community are just amazing, and they continually inspire, surprise, delight us every single day. Like I say, with starting a day with a ridiculous clip to a story of how someone met their future partner, their husband or their wife on the Sea of Thieves, to I just had the most amazing session, to these cosmetics are amazing. I'm Master Chief.
Or if you're like me, every time you've tried to come back to the game, the community ruins your experience. Yeah, it's great.
Takes me out round the back. Wrong word. But the community has evolved because we're in such an amazing place where there are these established, so welcoming, talented, creative community groups now. We obviously have our affiliate alliance, who are different groups. We've recently onboarded like Art Club, who are amazing and do amazing things. But we have some incredibly talented, established communities. So if you love Sea of Thieves, you can go index in anything. You like fighting, go join that group. If you like drawing, go join that. That's very reductive, but we have almost it's always
Is that the split?
fighting and drawing.
Drawing and fighting. That's it.
But if you have a particular passion that kind of focuses on like an element of Sea of Thieves, there's a space and there's a home for you somewhere kind of within our kind of online sphere. So it's incredible. We have just good eggs who have stayed with us from alpha, and they're they mean so much to us, and they are people that we.
This is so tone deaf because I don't need to know how your community's evolved. All your numbers on Steam have gone down. All your numbers on the Xbox tracker of most played games have gone down. If your community's evolved, to me, it's shrunken and insulated. It's so unwelcoming. Look at Steam reviews. People constantly leave the game for how the community treats them. This is so tone deaf. To anybody tuning in thinking, yeah, what's next? What are you going to do next? This doesn't answer those questions. It sounds like you're just patting yourselves on the back.
Lend a hand, offer some advice, or just do something absolutely incredible and creative. So I'm very excited that we get to honour them with things like community days.
Oh.
Segue.
Very good.
Yeah. I've done this.
Segue to the new season.
Twice.
Segue there.
So I'm going to talk about the special community day we've got planned for anniversary now.
Yeah. Okay.
Except it's not just one day.
Oh.
It's two.
Oh.
I know. So the weekend, the 25th to the 27th, 10 a.m. to 10 a.m., we're going to be running a supersized community day with some supersized stuff on offer. It's a classic kind of format where we'll be asking people to raise the MSU grade by using a hashtag. But there's loads more than what you would normally see in a community day. So there's...
Tell me more.
I will.
Just wait. Get ready.
So the headline is...
Yeah.
We will be...
I just want this show. I just want this show. Get rid of us. Get rid of us.
24 hours. Just rolling.
What was I? This one. Right, so the headline is...
He flustered her. You can't be doing that when you're that attractive. He needs to be aware of himself.
We're going to be giving away 50 million ancient coins over the weekend. So when the community hit community MS3 grade 5, we're going to tune up that ancient skeleton spawn rate again. And there's going to be 50 million coins on offer over the Sea of Thieves
Oh, wow.
For that period. So it's a lot.
That's a
I
lot.
can't do the maths. I'm a writer, not a maths adder.
You're sure you're a writer?
Superimpose snow.
But it's an awful lot of ancient coins, and obviously you've got the Pirate Emporium discount sale on as well. So if you get something, you can get an absolute barg. Amazing. Not only
My
that,
favourite thing about this, by the way, is that's the first I've heard about it.
An absolute bog. Just the best bog. What a bog. I went downtown, got me a buy one, get one free on some tennies, and I said, what a bog.
obviously got multiplier on things like gold, renown, rep, allegiance, which is amazing. So this is an opportune moment to go level up in every kind of expression of the word. You've also got a couple of login bonuses. You level up.
More login bonuses.
I know, more.
More.
Do I get a login bonus? I logged into this.
Of the Community Day flag, which will go really well with the Reaper's Mark sales, also on offer.
$4.99.
$4.99, ancient coins, amazing. But then we also have a very special emote.
Yeah.
So if everyone remembers the amazing barrel hide emote,
Yeah.
that's coming back.
Classic.
Okay, that's awesome. I want that.
So it's like a birthday cake for Sea of Thieves, but you can hide with a
And
cake.
burst out.
Like a Marilyn Monroe sort of situation. Yeah. So we've got a couple of amazing things, and then that's not even it. I can't talk about this a lot right now, but there's something being introduced in Season 9, a certain voyage, which makes a certain impressive world event a little bit more easy to access. And everyone who'll be logging in over that period will get a free voyage, which will hopefully inspire them to go stacks and stacks. And there's some more.
Keep scrolling.
There we go. So no, there is more. Obviously, when we
A free knife set.
I was like, this
am I QVC now?
I was like, this is good. This is QVC.
Get the offer now.
Guys, I know this has been tough, but please smack the like button. I can't control the quality of streams that I co-stream, so obviously this is hurting me more than it's hurting you. So please hit the like button.
Kind of discount running over that weekend as well, so you can pick up all your favourite piratey wares. It's not everything. I'm not finished.
There's a charming carriage clock.
One of the most amazing things that our incredible environment team, that's you as well. You're included in the art. They have put together an amazing photo wall. And this is going to be at New Golden Sands, which is amazing. So for a limited time period, there's going to be a photo wall active within the world where you can go emote and selfie with your crew and take lots of amazing screenshots. It's very, very cool. I don't think anyone's really ever done anything like it before. It's very, very exciting. It's beautiful. I'm sure we can show it.
Oh, it's just stunning, Tad. You can get this featured right now for 4 down payments of $19.99. You can do monthly payments of $4.99.99. Put this in your backyard. Put your benches in front of it. Get a cookout going. You can have your kids play in front of it, decorating. This works for weddings, funerals. I was thinking about a funeral right now with where this stream's going. You can order these right now, Dad.
Spectacular, where we give lots of things out, offer lots of amazing opportunities, but fundamentally give players the space to come together and kind of just take amazing screenshots, do lots of amazing streams, and just effectively showcase our community to the best of their presentation.
You can have like Christina Wiz Ear 2023.
Can we make that happen?
When's the bird lock?
Yeah.
We also have the 4th anniversary best of store bundles, I believe, as well. And that's outside of the community day, but I believe it's running at the same time.
Will probably also be available at the same time. No, there are some amazing store bundles over the period, some best of bundles, which are really lovely pockets of cosmetics and things from certain areas of the Sea of Thieves. So there's just so much on offer for people who want to use this opportunity to just get a bargain, some new stuff for their kind of cosmetics chests and whatnot. Great opportunity.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. There's a lot going on. It should be a really amazing, busy, exciting time on the seas.
Awesome.
I wish my 5th birthday was this good.
What would be amazing and exciting is details about the new season and the future.
But it was around that time.
So you're 15.
Okay, I'm just going to admit it. I'm super triggered. I feel genuinely insulted by the laughter. I honestly feel like they're laughing at me. It's a flashback to middle school. The laughter is so triggering. It's triggering me real bad.
That was the most random bit. Yeah. That was.
So yeah, that's kind of it for us. But so I want to say thanks to everyone here for joining me today and some of the things we have coming for the 5th anniversary. I know there's a bunch there, but we've also got a bunch more to announce that we've been keeping from you, but we will be announced. So stay tuned to our social channels. But there's one more thing in the true Xbox way of doing things. That's not all, because I know that there's something super exciting that we've been working on for the last, say, 8 years. And that is the making of Sea of Thieves, a feature-length documentary called Voyage of a Lifetime. And It features a ton of never-before-seen footage and peeks behind the curtain of how the game was made.
What?
And that will be coming along as well on March 20th. And
What?
you know, everyone here has been involved in some way in that.
Huh.
So, Ryan, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
And then we'll work around.
No.
What's something
No.
you're looking forward to there?
Oh,
Stop.
so the thing we're looking forward to the most is just all that old footage that we kind of haven't seen for years. I mean, you used to wander around with a camera. You and John used to wander around filming our meetings and kind of like oddly sitting there as the camera just peered into the corner of the room. But I never saw any of that footage. So yeah, there's some of that in there. So fascinated to see that. All of us looking a lot younger, probably.
Younger, yeah.
That's the sad bit.
Yeah.
There's some dev years on you.
Yeah, dev years are like dog years, aren't they? But
Joe?
but yeah, like so, you know, I'm lucky enough to have kind of seen the kind of like the documentary pretty much, and so you know, minus some final tweaking and stuff, and but it's like. It's an incredible story, right? It's an incredible thing. It's like I remember, like you were pretty much the first hire I made. I think back at the start of like Athena, like before it was even Sea of Thieves, right? And but I remember just having that like I don't know kind of how or why, but I just want to record this, and then we'll figure out what to do with it, right? But that was kind of the thing. It was like let's just start recording this. Let's get comfortable with kind of talking about it and sharing and being open, and very much linked to that. That plan we had to kind of like bring people in early, be open and show people what was going on and talk about stuff and kind of take feedback and stuff from the community. It really kind of came from that sort of thinking. And so we've been sitting on this footage for so long and felt this was the time for us to go back and revisit that and pull something together and tell the story of the whole thing, right? From the start all the way to pretty much now. And so I just think it's a fascinating insight through the highs and the lows, right? And that was part of that journey. And yeah, it's I think it's an emotional watch, and I think it's kind of something that for all of us as a team, it will be kind of emotional to go watch that and to see what we've accomplished.
I'm emotional right now, bro. I feel like I'm being stolen from.
Anybody that's played Sea of Thieves has kind of become a fan of it. I think it's really cool to see a lot of behind the scenes stuff and see what it means to go work on something like this and make it and kind of go through that journey, right? So it's it's really special. Like one of the things I'm most kind of I'm most proud that we're doing and kind of got an opportunity to do. Like, and I think our community will really enjoy it.
Yeah, it certainly charts the highs and the lows. I think.
Yeah, this is a low right here.
It is the old footage, but going back to how it felt back then when you see some of that old footage, it puts you right back in how you felt at that time. And I think it's really important to, obviously we all believe this, not losing sight of, how lucky we are and how privileged we are to have gone on this journey. And I think when you go back to that footage when the game wasn't a success and we were dealing with very real challenges, I mean, particularly how honest and how a true reflection we deal with launch in that video. It's okay to go back and enjoy it now because of all the subsequent years past them. But I think it's just a really cathartic experience. I think certainly for us to go back to that and see the journey that we've been on and then just be reminded, I guess, of the amazing community that we have and the success and the impact that the Sea of Thieves has had. It's wonderful to see it all in one place for the first time. I think lots of our players in our community have seen the kind of story since launch with all the behind the scenes, all the great video content we've put out, but there's been very little insight into what came
It's
before 2018 other than the
so
builds.
long. The stream is so long.
It's great to see that early part of the story.
I love the fact that we've got some of the stuff in there that we never thought we'd get to see public. Some clips of things in there, and I'm just I can't wait to see all that put together as just one document.
I can't wait to see next season and the future. That's what I can't wait to see, you super attractive Scotsman.
Yeah.
Frick!
We're taking the team to the cinema.
Oh, that was right. That was
Sorry.
I'm so excited because we actually get to watch this together as a team in a cinema, and it's going to hopefully be like the Endgame for Marvel, where like people are just whooping and hollering in the cinema when whoever appears. Like it's just going to be such a beautiful moment for us to all be together and to memorialize and watch kind of the last 8 years unfold in 90 minutes. With us all with a bit of popcorn and some cheering. That's one of the things I'm really excited about because it's just Sea of Thieves is its best with community and its kind of communality, and we get to watch it all in the same quite lovely leather seat theatre together.
Although it was ridiculous how much we'd had to spend on the de-aging process for Craig when he said he wanted to
Yeah, there it is, guys. We're about 50 minutes in. We needed a little bit more laughter. We were running low on laughter. The laughter quota was tank was getting low. There's some more. Yeah, there's some more.
Sorry, Craig.
It is amazing, though.
There's some more.
The last time the team was in the cinema together was when we all watched the Goonies together
Goonies,
near the start of development. And I remember you standing up in front of the team and saying that we are
Cocktail in hand.
Cocktail in hand. Very nonchalant. Certainly owned the moment. I had a tear in my eye.
Yeah.
But you, saying we're at the start of a great journey, we're at the start of this adventure. We are the Goonies. We're going to go build these relationships together and build this, hopefully what we hoped was going to be a great game together. And it's just kind of poetic that we're going to be able to do that again as a team.
Guys, Quintar's hitting dislike. Help me out here. Everybody hit like. Combat the dislikes. We need 200 likes. Let's get some gifted members to celebrate your pain.
Tear back. But no, but that's kind of what it's been, right? And like I think you was really early on we were talking about the friendships and the kind of the bond and stuff that we formed, right? The kind of that you referenced, and it's amazing to see how that's kind of come true. And it is a lovely little kind of way to kind of round it and do it. We had to book a much bigger cinema this time, because the one we used before was I can't cater for this. So, yeah, we're just a bigger team. So, but yeah, it's special.
Well, we're not just about talking, we're about showing. And we do have an amazing trailer here to show you for the documentary that's coming up on March 20th. So do keep an eye out for that on the day.
He was talking about
also,
the documentary.
Stay tuned for right after this, because we're going to be talking all about Sea of Thieves Season 9 with some fresh new faces. We'll see you
It's going to take It's going to take an hour. It's going to take an hour to get to it.
We knew that there was a new game in development. Players on a pirate ship together, commanding this vessel together.
Oh my God, we're on something really special here.
Come on board for the Sea of Thieves!
More laughter than you can shake a stick at.
That brings players together. How do we make it a world that they want to get lost in?
We played thousands of hours of this prototype.
It was less about designers creating scripted scenarios and moments. It was about those moments being created between players.
Rare's always been brave. It's awesome when studios challenge themselves to do something unique.
This is by far the most ambitious game Rare has ever created.
Creating new game ideas has got to be the hardest thing that there is to do in the game industry.
We've got a compass, but we don't have a map.
As we're getting closer to launch, we're trying to get things done quicker. You're at the height of chaos.
The ultimate test was going to be, have we done enough?
And day one, hundreds of thousands of people turned up.
We just couldn't get enough servers online at the time.
Believe me, it is frustrating for us, as it is for anyone that's experiencing an issue.
That first year was about having a point to prove. The roadmap we initially had, we threw that out the window.
My perception of what Sea of Thieves was shifted when COVID arrived.
It's not the pandemic that brought people together, it's people that brought people together.
It was just that opportunity to chat, to laugh, hear voices and have that human connection.
I love this game so much.
This is not just a game, this is a community.
Cheers! Bloody marvellous.
There wasn't enough laughing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We've done the swap here, and I'm joined with a new crew of
Yay! They are going to talk about content. Hopefully,
and again,
maybe,
since it's
eventually.
the table, we're going to go around and introduce ourselves. We'll start here with Mr. G.
I am Mr. G.
Why are they laughing at the introductions? It's just his name.
I'm Christina, but I'm an old face, an old haggard face from half an hour ago.
Oh no, Christina!
Thanks,
Stop it!
But if anyone needs reminding, I'm head of community and communication.
Stop it!
I am Shelley Preston. I'm a lead
Yeah, see, and this
Her
time
name
I
is
get
Shelley.
to
Can
see
you
the things
believe
that I
it?
mix them up. That's the way we do it.
Clever. I like it.
So let's dig right in here. Season 9, we know that's what you're here for, those juicy details. And we've got the premiere of the Season 9 content update trailer.
This is going to be
The premiere of the Season 9 update trailer. Right at the
I
end
don't
of this
even know what we're
one.
laughing at
gonna
anymore.
Take a deep dive with folks here since we've got them sitting around the table and get some juicy details on some of the features and improvements we can expect in Season 9. Andy.
Yes.
Andy, you're going to give us a high level of what we can expect and what you went into. What was your thinking when you were like, Season 9, what do I want to do?
Well, high level, we wanted to reinvigorate the Sea of
Oh,
Thieves
sorry, I
sandbox,
missed the
so
cue.
Adding a bunch of new kind of features and opportunities on the horizon for players to
Yes,
get
that's what we all
involved
tuned in
with.
for.
And then on top of that, we had a bunch of quality of life changes that
Oh,
we've been
yeah?
working on together
Great.
as well.
That's assumed.
And we've got a ton of them done as well to kind of bolster the release
What?
and
Wonderful.
make
What are
everyone's
they?
Sessions more fun and enjoyable.
Yeah.
There's just a huge suite of quality of life stuff. I need to stop talking. You carry on.
No, that's absolutely fine. Like, so your quality of life when we bundle it in together, like, makes it sound like it's less than it is, but there are quite a lot of, like, amazing
I think that's the
cool
thing.
things.
It's like, you do, like, if it's just one or two quality of life changes, I kind of get that. But like, we've done a substantial kind of suite of quality of life changes, and I think they're more than the sum of its parts. They're kind of things that will change your experience every time you're sailing on the Sea of Thieves. Things you didn't know you potentially wanted, and then once you've kind of got them, it'd be strange to ever kind of go back. They kind of touch and improve every single session that you have with your friends.
Yeah, it's the kind of stuff where like you'll look back in a year and be like, how did we ever play Sea of Thieves
How did we
without
live
this
without
stuff?
it?
Yeah. It'll become so natural to everyone.
Like, how did we do a stream and 56 minutes in have said nothing?
Like, we're playing the internal builds, and then we go home and play the retail one, and we're like, what?
When's
Why
that
are we
coming?
doing
Yeah,
this?
yeah. Why is that not on? Yeah.
That's amazing. And George, like, speaking of like what you have been like working on with some of this, we've been balancing and adjusting world events, right?
Yeah.
That must have been huge. That must have been a huge task. Like,
It's not a small task, like world events.
Some might say gargantuan.
But yeah, world events are like a staple of the Sea of Thieves experience. They're part of like the randomness of the sandbox. Like, they're really enjoyable sort of points in your session to make decisions and go and do these amazing experiences. But for a long time, we've noticed that they are imbalanced and there are some rough edges across all of them. So we've taken some time to go and sort of smooth off those rough edges.
Great.
One of the biggest ones since we've launched almost any of our world events has been that they don't usually scale for crew size. So that's where a large portion of the balance work has come from, in making sure that if you're playing as a solo player or if you're playing with 3 friends on a galleon, like, you have the same level of experience. Like, there will be less skeletons on a skeleton fort if you're a solo player, but the experience will take the same amount of time. It will be the same amount of challenge, like the same amount of enjoyment for all crew sizes. So we're not necessarily...
Bro, scaling content for 1 to 4 people, that's pedestrian. Like, you're supposed to do that.
They may feel easier, but that's because some of the frustration that we certainly felt was unnecessary frustration. It wasn't fun frustration. So we've tried to take those out and make sure that whoever's playing, they have a really good time doing all these world events.
I think that's huge as well. It's like every single world event is great and it's fun and it's exciting when you're on a 4-player crew right now in Sea of Thieves. That's like the prime way to play. But sometimes, like George said, like if you're on a solo player and you're going into like a skeleton ship fleet battle, it can be quite overwhelming. There's a lot of tasks that you have to kind of manage on your own ship, like sailing the ship, angling the sails, repairing holes, bailing water, aiming cannons, and repositioning your ship all at the same time. And it's just pretty overwhelming with the current balance. But putting this more dynamic balance in has allowed us to kind of re-go back every single kind of world event and just sort of improve them and make it feel like, again, when you look on the horizon, everything is something that you want to go and do because it's all just...
This is all great primer if the stream just started, right? But we're too far in. Like, it's too generic, man. I want details.
So all the rewards are exactly the same. It's just more enjoyable and fun for players to play, irrespective of their crew size.
I take it must have been good as well to go back and see if there was things that have maybe like degraded over time, or
There's like some rough edges, wasn't there, on some of
Yeah.
the stuff that we've sort of ironed out, and like they weren't all just rough edges. Some were just like poor decisions that we'd made in the past. Like when you defeat a skeleton ship, for example, in the skeleton ship fleets, the next ship would just instantly appear immediately, and it was kind of frustrating, wasn't it?
Well, it's not fair, like, to be instantly bombarded. Another one that, like, you pointed out really early on was the cannons around a skeleton fort. Like the AI that we'd set up to man those is like a really cool part of the skeleton fort. You're sailing in, getting bombarded with cannonballs. It's like thrilling. But then while you're on the fort trying to clear the waves, you'd hear cannon fire, and it's some little sod shooting your shit. Like, getting it, and like, so we've gone out of our way to like turn those off and make sure they're not spawning. Like,
Isn't that funny when we just completely forget to balance things and it ruins the player experience? Just, oh man, what a riot ineptitude is. It's just a real knee slapper.
Trying to manage a million jobs, which is...
You're getting these like really vicious loops. I think that's the thing. It's like whether it was the cannons on the skeleton forts or whether it was the ship spawning too quickly when you're trying to like get the treasure off from the ship that you've just defeated. You're kind of overwhelmed, and like example, like when you get to the Skelly Fort and you kind of park up, it's like, great, I can board the island now and defeat the skeletons, but then you're getting hit by this cannon skeleton, kind of bailing.
How is that an epiphanous moment? How is that a breakthrough? So this is supposed to make me feel good? Like you didn't know that beforehand? You didn't know that with the skeleton forts you couldn't have them continually shooting people's boats? Like that's a breakthrough?
To play as a player. So.
And as you said, like it's more than the sum of its parts, and there are so many great experiences there. And as we looked at season 9, we've got so many things that do feel and play great. Like as Andy said, the 4-player experience of a Skelly ship battle, or a 4-player experience at a fort. And it's just now those experiences are available for everyone, which means when we say it's refreshed and revitalized, you've got that fresh take on when you go in and you see one of those clouds on the horizon or something happens. Especially as a solo player, you're going to feel more invited in, and that it includes you more, and you can actually have a go at those events, which widens the possibilities for you within the sandbox and gives you more variety.
I think it's going to lead to there being more treasure on the seas as well, because there's going to be more people actually actively participating in these. There you go. So Preston. That's why you go with a Preston.
Always in sync. So there's another thing coming alongside it, and when we're talking about how we're changing things up and revitalizing it, is some of the improvements to Reaper's chests.
Yes. So there are kind of to kind of slightly not answer your question, but just because. So I am going to answer your question, but I'd like to just add in. I'd love to add in about the Chest of Fortune, because I think it kind of explains what our thinking around these valuable chests and where, you know, the season 9 Chest of Fortune, where that kind of idea comes from. So when we looked at the sandbox and revitalizing that, a key quintessential Sea of Thieves thing is people having valuable treasure on the seas. And as Andy said, refreshing these world events means more people are going to have more treasure out there. But also we know that there are a lot of players who have already done a lot of commendations, have a lot of gold, have already kind of ticked those boxes, and we wanted to introduce something that was going to be valuable for them. And we kind of went about this a slightly different way with the Chest of Fortune, in that it's a brand new chest, but the opportunity that it unlocks, it does give you gold, it does give you reputation, but it actually unlocks exclusive access to the exclusive Fates of Fortune ship set as well. So in season 9, you can find the Chest of Fortune at the Fort of Fortune, and you can unlock 3 parts of the ship set, and in the future we'll move it around and unlock more parts of the set as well. So that's kind of one part of the Chest of Fortune. And then along that same lines of thinking, we looked at the Reaper's chest that we already have in the game, and we felt like they already have this really strong foundation that they bring players together. There's a beacon kind of in the world, and maybe people will go towards it at the same time. But once you've got it on your ship, the only way to know someone else had one was by looking at the world map, which is a lot more kind of hidden. And we wanted to bring that up onto the surface, so you're looking on the horizon, you can see it. So now the beacon will stay with the chest as you carry it around.
Yo, thank you for the gifted Predator.
Earn your prior rewards for those. You can also unlock the Fates of Fortune weapon set as well. So
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
So sorry to not.
One of the reasons I'm covering this Doc Dark is I think Sea of Thieves is one of the greatest games that they just have never tapped into its potential. It's so enjoyable to be on the water and to sail. It's a beautiful game, but the content loop just isn't structured well. Like, it's super griefy. Like, the PvE takes too long. It's super grindy.
Talking about are some of the things the community have been asking for a while, right? Like, is there
Yep.
things in here that you're like, oh, this is going to go down well? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of things, but also I'm going to talk about insiders as well. I am allowed to talk about insiders. I'm me. Pay attention to your NDAs. So a couple of things. So one thing that I think our community are gonna have been asking for. There's a couple of things in various different sizes, but one thing is food radial. You can choose what piece of fruit you're eating next, which is in a kind of life or death situation. That is kind of critical. You want
important. You want that pineapple, not that banana.
Exactly
Like
that.
situation.
What are we going to do with this? So we're going to be able to kind of allow players to select what fruit they're using for a particular
Wow.
that they're tackling, which I think is absolutely amazing and something we've seen requested.
That's huge.
A little thing, which is just I didn't realise again how convenient it was until I was playing a non-retail build, is being able to equip your flag from your shipwright's chest. Because it's the finishing touch, isn't it? You're like, can I be bothered to go scale that thing? Like, I could, but I'm not going
It
to.
just makes sense to have them all in the same place.
Exactly.
Doesn't it? So go to one chest, change absolutely everything about your ship, and complete that whole look.
And then you're like, this is great. And it means I think so many more people are going to change their flag now, which I think is
Just
going to
brings
be
it
great.
up on the surface. For
Yeah,
everybody.
Exactly that. And then and one more thing that I think people are really, really, really going to enjoy is what we're doing with Red Sea loot. George, do you want to talk a little bit more about this? I don't want to steal your thunder, but it's an amazing thing that we're introducing to the Sea of Thieves now.
Yeah, I can talk about it like it's not my thunder. We've got a team of engineers who are actually talented who do all this stuff. But yeah, like obviously the whole Red Sea runners, Reapers runners to an extent has been a thing for a long time. Certainly super frustrating to see a ship that you've been chasing for a long time with the loot that you know is like you could easily earn just disappear off into the Red Sea. That ship sinks and the loot becomes inaccessible. Just sucks for everyone really. It shouldn't be a part of the game. So it's not anymore with Season 9. We basically changed it to that's the we, so that I do get some credit for all the work the engineers have done. But it was all the engineers. They're like amazing. They've set it up so that the ship goes into the Red Sea, sinks with the loot on it. We then pretty much draw a line back from that ship to the nearest point of safe sea. Spawn the loot there, and then there's also another quality of life feature that I think we're adding with this. I don't think it's been in the game yet, but when loot's left off a sunk player ship, we get seagulls over the top of it so that you can find it, because we put the Red Sea fix in and the treasure was spawning further back, but because it's Sea of Thieves and that's just a big open part of the ocean, there's no real reference for finding it in the right place. So those seagulls help. So there's hopefully this is a fix that we'll put in and it will be great for the few folks that encounter it, and then folk will realise that that's what's happening, and actually it will have been pointless because nobody will do that anymore, and the feature will kind of not really be seen. That would be lovely.
It works for dumping stuff off the sides as well, doesn't it?
Yeah,
like if you're trying to find other ways to like spite somebody that's
There's
chasing
no way
you,
around it.
that still works as well. So
it's really great.
Yeah. How dare you upset the people that are attacking you? That'd be terrible to like come up with a strategy to make the loot really hard to get, you know? It'd be awesome. It'd be just awful to grief the griefers. That'd be terrible.
Can I talk about one more thing from Insiders, which I think people will be really interested in? Again, I'm allowed to talk about it because this is an official live stream. I have permission. One of the things that Mike touched on just previously when we were talking about anniversary and cosmetics are piratey cosmetics. Season 9 has some amazing piratey clothing, and the Insiders have responded super well. They're like, this is amazing. I personally love them. I might actually change my outfit for the first time in two years. My pirate, I haven't been wearing this since 2021, just to clarify. But there's an amazing track of seasonal rewards this time round, which are like just can't describe how good the trousers are. People will see. The trousers are just like, ooh. So we've got a plethora of different things, from small kind of quality of life improvements that are going to feel, like you say, supernatural and like.
Okay, she's talking about trousers. Like, I get not wanting to like have people drive off into the Red Sea, so like you can't get the stuff that like you feel like is rightfully yours. But like, somebody that's trying to steal your loot and you make it hard or bad for them, like, I don't get why. I don't know. That's a discussion worth having.
Like, there's tons of opportunity for things to happen in Sea of Thieves, but as we've been adding more and more and more content to the game, it's actually prevented some of our older content from actually working as it was originally intended, if that makes sense, just because there's so many different ways for new things to kind of block other things from working. So we kind of took a look back through like data of where our shipwrecks are spawning, how frequently the megs are spawning, and where they spawn specifically, the krakens, the fog, all these different kind of systems, and we've kind of been tuning them up so that megs can spawn everywhere again, krakens can spawn everywhere again. Like, the shipwrecks now only spawn kind of inside the world of the islands rather than off in these kind of extended map areas near the Red Sea that are kind of really far and out the way and not kind of in the core flow of where you're playing. And the fog was kind of a similar thing as well, right? Where it's like, it's just never spawned. It's like, where is it? I can't find it.
It was always in the Devil's Roar.
It's basically always in the Devil's Roar because of all these extra things that we've added into the game. But yeah, we've been tuning all that stuff up. So again, hopefully, like, all of these extra things, even things that you've played and engaged with before, they're just more frequently available in Season 9.
Yeah, it's about like re-unlocking that value for everybody.
Yeah.
Like you say, like we know it's cool and it's fun to be sailing through the fog, but it's been kind of a bit missing and not present for a long while, and it's about bringing all that back in. And with all of that happening all at once, all in this package in Season 9, it's super exciting.
Yeah. And so was this because of like exceptions that were made, like so things can't spawn because of this happening?
Absolutely, yeah. Like there was just so many new things that we've added into the world that are kind of like blocking things, and like the world's like got more, like all the sea forts got added, for example, all the pockets where like there were places where you could kind of spawn, and just tons of new content over time that's just prevented things from doing their job. So we've just been going back and kind of refreshing that, making sure that everything's in order and working as intended.
And it's nice to see this come around like the 5th anniversary when we're having a look back, right? And we're looking back at all that kind of amazing content that we've put in. Like, how can we make it like come to the fore again? And I also hear that we have new uses for doubloons and new.
Very exciting. So there are a couple of new things actually. So the first is players can use their doubloons now to purchase the Season 1 cosmetics. So they're coming back into the game. So for anyone who missed those a long while ago, there is a way to get there. It's a very, very high cost, obviously, to recognise the kind of exclusivity of those at the time. But if you did miss out, they've obviously been exclusive for a long while now. And at this point, we kind of felt it was fair to bring them back for those players who missed out. And then the second thing you can also do is for Pirate Legends, they can buy 3 new Pirate Legend voyages as well that will take them on various adventures.
Nice. And I'm just going to go around the table here. I'm going to start with you again, George. But like, is there something in there that maybe we haven't talked about yet, or something you want to go into more detail that you're really looking forward to like seeing in there?
I'm weighing up how cruel to be here, and I'm going to be very, because I know what Andy wants to say. And like my favourite feature that we've done in all of Season 9 is the improvements to the harpoon. So we've now, for context for those, the folks won't have seen it yet, will we?
No, yeah, this is all new.
We are improving the harpoon. For a long time, the harpoon has operated under the tools, not rules approach of Sea of Thieves, because that's how we make everything in Sea of Thieves. And we took some time to sort of reevaluate whether that was still right, and whether we were unnecessarily adding sort of churn to a player's session. So we've now made it so that any loot, sort of booty items that you hit with a harpoon then get instantly added to your ship, rather than having to pick up a loot item, walk around, take it off, put it down on the ship. We now like spawn it in a nice little sort of semicircle behind you, and that's just like the treasure items. Anything that you can pick up and drop will be immediately added to your ship.
Just like when you harpoon a player, and right,
it's
like
one of those weird things, right? Because like you're so used to how it did work, but it's like one of those things that we're saying where it's like, oh wow, this is huge. Like, because
it should always have worked like this.
basically,
Is what
it's
we
like
felt like when we
it's
played
like
it.
unifying how it works in with players, right? Like, you know, when you harpoon a player, they instantly come on the ship.
Yep.
It's just the same with
Yeah.
loot now.
Yeah.
So like everything feels consistent, but it's super powerful for like a solo player.
really good.
Like
Yeah.
if you're trying to like get stuff out of the ocean, it's just like bang, 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 bang,
Yeah.
bang, and it's all on your ship, and then you can carry on.
And for
enjoy
captains out
yourself.
there as well, it works for the sovereign.
Nice,
It'll
yeah.
actually
Oh,
put
nice.
the loot on the lift for you. So
Yeah.
Handy.
See, these are the things that, like, you think about that first step, and then you don't think about, like, where else is harpoon
Yeah.
and how can
Yeah.
that help?
Yeah.
So it suddenly, improves everything there. And yourself, Andy?
I mean, there's tons, but like, I guess up there, the top tier would be selling things directly from a collector's chest. Again, sounds quite minor, but like, I don't know how many times players have kind of gone back to an NPC with 3 items inside a collector's chest, put it down, open it up, pick up item 1, cash it in, pick up item 2, cash it in, pick up item 3, cash it in, close the lid, pick it up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all these kind of steps to just get to, give me the money. 'Cause I wanna get,
This is some good stuff, but again, this doesn't tell me about the season. This is just sensible quality of life changes. Thank you, Kale, for ordering some light roast.
collector's chest immediately, and it even recognizes whether certain things can't be accepted by a certain NPC, and it'll tell you which one to go to, so you can kind of go back to the Order of Souls and go, yeah, right, take these.
Genuine shock and awe.
How does it work for sovereigns, Shelley?
So they just take everything.
Yeah, well, they
right?
take.
Yeah,
Oh, they
yeah.
just-
yeah.
The convenience.
Yeah.
So
He just
like-
harpoons up onto the lift. You hand it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Harpoon it, land straight on the lift.
Hand it all in.
But crucially, it doesn't sell the actual chest in the same press, because a lot of players obviously love to use that
Use
as the
it,
tool
go and
to
gather
go
some
back
more
and get the
stuff.
next 3
Yeah.
or whatever.
Amazing.
But you can still obviously sell the chest as a second press after it's emptied.
So don't spam that button.
No, don't.
But these are the kind of things that we talk about for a long time, and it's like we don't always have the opportunity to do these when we're focused on other types of seasons. So season 9's been great because we've almost got this kind of like backlog of ideas of all these things that we've wanted to do for so long that we can finally do.
Can I say one more?
Yeah, of course you can.
I've got a few.
I was
but-
going to ask you if I got 2, so I'm allowed 2.
Yeah.
Now. That's great. Thank you, Andy. Thanks for setting the precedent.
This is going to sound like a minor one as well, but I know that it'll be something that's been highly requested from community. But you know, when you fire a cannon from your ship and it hits another player's ship, and you get that lovely diddle-da, 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 like those kind of core.
It was a full rendition of the entire ship
But
battle.
that kind of crucial player feedback that I've shot a cannon like in the distance, whether it's dark, I can't see them, or it's long range, but I get that like instantaneous kind of audible feedback that it's hit, it's worked. We've now separated that from the music slider, so it's on its own slider. So if you turn all your music down to 0 because you want to be listening to your own jams, then you can independently tweak
that
this
wasn't
slider and just
funny.
have that kind of crucial feedback still audible whilst you're playing.
That wasn't funny. I don't understand.
Definitely. I've seen that pop up a lot, especially with partners. Like, so
Ah.
it's going to be one for the
Exciting times.
stuff.
Chest of Fortune.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love nothing more than, and I'm not skilled enough to do it myself, but I love watching like an Athena heist.
Yeah.
To have another piece of high value loot that everybody wants on the seas. Like, I just can't wait to see what our content creators are going to get up to with it. I think it's going to introduce like a little bit more magic into the Sea of Thieves and see some kind of calculated strategies plays. I think it's going to make Fort of Fortunes more attractive as well.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see that cloud go up and go like, oh, interesting. Oh, someone's over there.
We've
Or,
reimagined
refreshed
it
that
a
as well,
bit as
right?
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just so all the stuff that George talked about earlier about that balance. We've done that as well for the Fort of Fortune, but we also looked at the identity of that and where it kind of sat in the sandbox. And we felt like looking back at it, it just felt overly difficult and overly long and too much of an investment. So we've also kind of drastically reduced the time investment there. So it's still a harder fort, it's still a good investment and culminates in an Ashen Lord, but it's just that bit more approachable as well.
Amazing. And it goes back to what you were saying. There's just going to be more loot on the season in that case. The Fort of Fortune is a slightly easier experience. There's a new high value chest. Like, you're just going to hope that when
a
you...
bit more often as well.
Interesting.
So,
It just means when you load into a world, you just can be a little bit more assured that the seas are a little bit more alive with a little bit more potential.
Yeah.
And so I think you said it earlier, it's key that it's going to move per season, right? Like the
Yeah, I mean, like as how often it's going to move. No, I think seasonal, like to be open and honest, like seasonal is the plan, but obviously we'll see kind of how players react to it, and like it's a new thing, right? Like we've got a single grade of the commendation for cashing in both types of Reaper's Chest or the Chest of Fortune, 2 separate commendations to unlock that ship set or that weapon set. And then we're not going to unlock your ability to progress towards the next grade until we put those next items in. And it's something quite new, so we're going to see kind of how that goes and how players respond to it.
I was getting cold because I'm not talking.
Oh yeah. So 2 for me. So firstly, the changes to the Hunter's Call. So the Hunter's Call have got a few different changes. So firstly, we've introduced Adelric, who's just awesome, who is Merrick's nephew, who has kind of just become old enough to not like probably was a few years away from being quite good enough to join the Hunter's Call. Right. Is a little bit new, but still. Yeah. But obviously with Merrick's demise, there's a vacancy at Stephen Spoils. So Adelric's kind of taken on that mantle, so you can now cash in again at Stephen Spoils. And the sea posts are giving you a bonus on gold, so 50% extra on top of gold for cashing in all your Hunter's Call items. Because you can also, if you're a captain, cash in Hunter's Call items at the Sovereigns now, but that will be for that original base rate rather than the bonus rate for going to sea posts. So that's my first one, which I appreciate was 3 things in one.
We're going around
but also the Skull of Destiny. Like you have to talk about the Skull of Destiny. So when I talked earlier about those Pirate Legend voyages, I'll refrain from going into all of them because I appreciate I've already said too much. But one of those is the search for the Skull of Destiny, which will give you a wayfinder to a nearby island to dig up this skull. And it's kind of in a similar magic to the Ritual Skull, used to start the Fort of the Damned, but it also has all colours Flame of Fate within it. So if you're a Pirate Legend and you have the doubloons, you essentially now have access to start the Fort of the Damned on demand, which, again, more loot on the seas, more active, more events happening. So it will make the experience better for everyone, even those who aren't Pirate Legend, because there's more likely to be a Fort of the Damned on the go.
It's everything you need. It's the all-in-one.
It's the Skull of Destiny.
Yeah. Now Shelley has said that, I can actually reveal, when I alluded to earlier on with Community Weekend for Anniversary, everyone will get a Skull of Destiny voyage over that weekend. Yes. So they can maximise the amount of loot they can earn. Right? Exactly that. Everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a legend or not. Doesn't matter if you got the doubloons. You're going to log in. You're going to get that voyage, and you can.
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah. See what we meant about more to come when we said there earlier? You only had to wait 30 minutes. There's more.
More. So much.
Stop laughing at us.
I hope I'm right in saying that.
There's more, by the way. I just want to clear that up. Like, there's more than what.
There's a lot more. There's a lot more. So I mean, I think we're also going to be seeing some more progress. More progress for the new fort. And I know people are looking forward to seeing the new things that are coming there. I got a sneak peek at some of that on Teams.
I want to know what's underneath the big cloth. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I could probably. Yeah, it's good.
Could hazard a guess. Well, I think that's about all we have time for here today, folks.
What?
Thank you, everybody, for obviously coming and joining us here and chatting through this. And I know a lot of people are. I mean, you've been watching some of this stuff that's been on screen, but now we're going to bring it all to you with the wonderfully voiced by Mr. McMushery content update trailer for Season 9. We've got a really busy month ahead, so obviously if you want to keep up to date with everything, stay tuned to our social channels. Christina is not the social channel. Well, I just pointed it out there. But stay tuned to our social channels and head on over to our website where I think we have a page that's dedicated for our anniversary, and obviously we'll have our usual Season 9 page there as well to stay up to date with everything that's going on. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you on the seas for Season 9, and then again for all the events that are happening through the anniversary. And yeah, stay tuned because here comes the Season 9 content update trailer.
I'm in disbelief.
Sea of Thieves Season 9 is nearly here, and we are sailing into port with powerful new features, a treasure trove of updates and improvements, and some shiny new rewards. Changes have come to the Forts of Fortune. The Chest of Fortune can now be found amongst the other treasures safely locked within the fort vault. These chests will not only reward you with large amounts of gold, but each chest cashed in will count towards new commendations that, once unlocked, will earn you items from the Fates of Fortune ship set, with more items from the set to be unlocked in future seasons. Reaper and Reaper's bounty chests have had an update too. Not only will cashing them in unlock weapons from the Fates of Fortune cosmetics set, but their telltale beacons will now always be active, regardless of whether they've been picked up or not. So everyone will know where you're scurrying off to. We've also rebalanced the difficulty of several world events. From Forts of Fortune to Ashen Lords, the difficulty of the emergent world events you engage in will now be tailored to your crew size. And emergent ghost ship battles are back, now expertly tuned, and minus the giant talking head in the sky. We've also upped the chances of finding shipwrecks, being shrouded in dense fog as you sail across the sea, and encountering the Megalodon and Kraken on your adventures. So the world of Sea of Thieves will feel more alive and dynamic than ever before. And Pirate Legends now have new voyages to embark on. You can set off on the hunt, battling fiendish skellies to unearth their accursed loot. Or go on an explosive adventure to dig up some volatile valuables. You can even follow the bearing of a special Athena's Fortune compass to acquire the mysterious Skull of Destiny. This special skull can manifest the various flames of fate and be used as a ritual skull, which will make starting the fearsome Fort of the Damned much easier. These shorter and more focused Pirate Legend voyages are bought with doubloons, so blow the dust off your stash and head out on the waves. And with the launch of Season 9, there's another 100 levels of stunning rewards to unlock, including the Prosperous Privateer clothing set and accessories, some unique sweet treats, and Gilded Age items for your ship and pirate. Pirate Legends can also earn the legendary Bone Hunter jacket and spyglass. And it's time to grab a grog and cast off with new Emissary rewards, where you can unlock trading company-themed fishing rods and tankards. There's also a brand new Plunder Pass, available as an optional purchase, where you can earn some dazzling premium items, including the Sting Tide ship set, and variations of the Sting Tide costume. And over in the Pirate Emporium, we've got the Sea Serpent ship set, weapon set, and costume. You can also grab the Lodestar ship's crest, a gleaming gold-cursed Barbary. And for pirates of a more retiring, mysterious nature, there's the enigmatic emote bundle. And you can grab the Hearing Things emote for free. But that's not all. There are even more improvements this season. When a ship is scuttled in the Devil's Shroud, any loot they had on board will now resurface in safer waters at the Shroud's edge. Nice try, runners. There's a new food radial menu, so you can be more specific about the meals you munch. Seagulls will now flock over loot that has surfaced from a recently sunk ship, making it easier to spot. And when you harpoon loot, you can now easily drop it on board your ship. New bait crates will appear emergently on the islands of the Sea of Thieves, or you can buy them from the Hunter's Call or the Merchant Alliance. And when you're using your fishing rod, you can now access a shortcut to the bait radial menu. Mermaid statues have been rebalanced to be easier to destroy and to increase the number of gems earned. You might even bag yourself a jackpot. You can equip flags at the shipwright on outposts, so no more scurrying up the mast to show off your cherished colours. Captains can now choose from an expanded range of captains' voyages. The events of their session will be recorded in their logbook, and they can sell their hunter's call items to the sovereigns. And a new family member has answered the call and filled the empty position at Stephen's Spoils. There's all this and more to discover, so get ready for smoother sailing and the refreshing breeze of change blowing in across the water in Sea of Thieves, Season 9.
That took an hour and a half. That took an hour and a half? Like, I don't understand. Yeah, that's the end. I don't understand, man. Like, you got everybody's attention for Season 9, and they didn't even talk about Season 9. They literally spent the first hour bragging about how great everything is and has been, and then they promoted their documentary, and then when they actually started talking about the season, it was a bunch of quality of life updates that the quality of life updates were focused on things that didn't even seem that big of a breakthrough. It was like, oh yeah, when you shoot stuff with your harpoon now, it comes directly onto your ship, and and did you hear what they said in the trailer? Nice try, runners. So in their mind, if you don't want to fight and you run away from a fight and you basically grief the people attacking you, that they don't want you to be able to do that. Like, I know people have different interpretations of PvP, and I commonly get misquoted as if I think all people who engage in PvP and Sea of Thieves are griefers. That's not the case. But in my experience, the people that I've interacted with are griefers. They don't care about anything. All they are, they join up on a server to mess with people, to sink people when they're in port, to sink a ship that hasn't even left port. That's been my experience. And so you're telling me if my consolation prize of victory is to run to the edge of the map, scuttle my ship so they can't get my stuff, now I can't do that. Now it's like you're basically just going to give them the loot anyway. Literally making griefing more rewarding and less risky. Yeah, like I don't know. I'm confused. I just don't know who they market this game to. The way they talked, all the inside jokes, all the laughing, the way they talk about their game, I'm like, how do you guys make money to fund this game? I can see your player base numbers on Steam. I can see how the game fares on the most played Xbox games list. This game does not have some massive, vibrant player base. Where's the money coming from? And the battle pass is free. The only thing that costs money is that alternate thing, right? That secondary battle pass. I've never had to pay any money for a battle pass. Whenever I've booted up, there's just stuff in there for me to earn, and then there's like the secondary thing you can pay for. I don't understand. Yeah, you think Microsoft is paying for it all, Elaine? I don't know. I was really thinking, okay, here we go, Season 9. You know, they promoted on Twitter. This is going to be a big deal, man. They're going to do some big updates and big content ads, and it was nothing. It's a low-effort game meant to sell micros. It's apparent from today that that's how this is structured. Selling feelings to sell cosmetics. From watching the content creator, says Ashen, they will never touch anything to discourage PvP. They say it's part of the identity of the game. Yeah, and that's why I don't play. I literally don't play for that reason. I think it's one of the most pleasant games to be in. The sailing, the sounds of the ocean. I got goosebumps because I forgot about the music. That joom, joom, voom, that super low, bassy tone that comes in. I love being in Sea of Thieves, but then I start getting attacked and messed with, and it's like, yeah, I don't want to play this game. That's not a gaming experience in my mind. And the progress is so insanely slow in PvE that even if I accept the fact that, like, part of the appeal of the game is that you might get attacked. Like, remember how I said I changed my position? I was like, yeah, you can't really take PvP out of the game. The threat of PvP is part of the identity of Sea of Thieves. You know, they just need to make the PvE faster. I don't even know if I think that anymore. I just think they've clearly made a game and they're happy with who plays it. Like, they don't care. They don't care about getting new people in the game at all. There's no way anybody watches that stream today and says, "Oh yeah, I've got to jump into that. I've got to jump into that." Sorry, we just had some drop frames. I'm streaming on Spectrum today, so that happens every once in a while. They hyped it up so much, saying treasure troves of features, they let us down with a few quality of life patches. Yeah, I don't see how anybody looked at the promotion of that stream and thought that's what we were going to get. It was an hour and a half of them just kind of laughing together. They just incentivized the whales, says Eugene. They spent more time talking about memories and store sales than anything else. If there was a PvE server I would play, I would. That's what continues to just confuse me about the game, is it's like there are bunches of people like me that do not touch the game. We don't touch the game. We would touch the game, but you won't give us an inroad. And then every time they do an update, they basically thumb their nose at people like me. Take that, runners. Right? It's like, okay. I don't want to fight. I'm going to run away and do everything I can to make my loot not something that somebody else can take from me, because they're ruining my evening, right? Well, no, you're not allowed to do that. That's not fair. How dare you? How dare you take a different course of action with respect to PvP? If Sea of Thieves got PvE servers, it'd be a dead game in a month or two. PvP helps the game. What do you mean a dead game in a month or two? How vibrant do you think this game is right now, Jocko? I'll always defend the idea of the game. The implementation seems absolutely atrocious, and you can tell what they care about most. They don't even try to hide it. I would be totally okay if they left it as it is, right, with the PvP and the PvE, if I could get things done way faster. Now, they did add some quality of life features that would help with that, right? Like if you take over one of the forts, well, you can use your harpoon now and you can get the gear off of the fort way faster with the harpoon, which should lead to you being able to turn everything in faster, you know, which could conceivably mean that you're going to be more effective at the grind and not necessarily get grieved. Doc Dark sitting in the corner rubbing his hands together like a Bond villain. Oh, is Doc still here? He acted like he hadn't really played the game and didn't understand what the appeal was. He didn't seem like he had played it. They have to cater to the griefers because the griefers are the only people left. Division 1 had the same issues. It's a game about pirates. You will fight people. If you can't, then you aren't good at Sea of Thieves. No, it's because I don't want to. Like, that's the problem with that narrative. The big problem with that narrative, guys like you, Louie, you guys run that narrative, then explain to me why, like, 75% of the game is PvE in focus. Like, that's what I don't understand. I don't... The game... Everything about the game feels lopsided and dissonant. Yeah, man, it's a hardcore game. Yep, you gotta be good at PvP. And the hit detection and the PvP mechanics and all of the elements of PvP are so casual and so pedestrian, and yet I'm supposed to get good? Oh, let's leave out the fact that the progress is so unbelievably slow. It's so slow. And what is my reward? I get to dress up more like a pirate. It's like the game has such a cognitive dissonance. Super hardcore, super slow grind. I would say a vast majority of the content is PvE, and yet PvP is the central focus of what so many people talk about. I wonder if they could do a PvP flag or passive mode. If you toggle PvP on, your rewards are slightly higher. That's what I've always said, Sven, is like, if you want to make a ton more money and a ton more progress doing PvP, I'm all for that. I would take slower progress and avoid all those headaches. I just like sailing in the game, and I would enjoy playing it with my wife. And they just continue to act like I'm the punk. Like I'm the idiot. I'm the quote-unquote runner. I love DMZ. I love that style of game, says Eugene from Division Survival ETC. It's not about PvPvE at all. They don't like PvP. They want to stack a team and grief new players. That's why the arena mode died. The progress is slow because the game doesn't show you have to do it faster. I'm not sure what you mean. I love the narrative that no one wants PvE only servers, but the next breath they admit everyone would flock to them and it would kill the game. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly, YouTube lurker. Yeah, PvE would kill this game. Why? Why would it kill this game? It kind of sounds like the invasion debate with the FromSoft boys, right? No, you have to be able to be invaded if you're going to play co-op in Elden Ring. Oh, really? That's interesting, because the seamless co-op mod's the most downloaded mod for Elden Ring, and it literally hurt the PvP ecosystem in Elden Ring. Gee, it's almost like people don't want to be messed with when they're playing a video game, and this weird narrative is the reason that Sea of Thieves doesn't have a very big player base. Look at all the reviews on Steam for why people stop playing. Look at them. Go read them. Look at the player base numbers on Steam. Look at the player base numbers on Xbox. There's not some big, massive amount of people playing Sea of Thieves at this point in time. They've literally insulated themselves down into an echo chamber. I literally think that stream was all I needed to see. Yeah, they had an arena PvP thing and it died. Yeah, because nobody wants to play PvP. They want to mess with people that aren't ready to defend themselves. That's what people want to do. If PvP was a huge draw in Sea of Thieves, then the arena wouldn't have accounted for 2% of the player base's activity. Arena was a failure, and the reason it was a failure is because people didn't want PvP. They wanted to mess with people that were in the process of trying to do a mission, because you're going to have a much easier time killing me when I'm doing that. The game is basically come in and play our game so people can grief you, and if you try to run, we'll frick you. I didn't like getting attacked, but it's called Sea of Thieves, not Sea of Friends. I know you can always say that, Rockin' Robin, but that's just a meme at this point. That's just a meme. That's not a defense for poor game design. I just checked. There's 240,000 players in Sea of Thieves right now. Where did you check that? Where did you check that? There's 15,000 people playing on Steam. So I'm supposed to believe that there's 220,000 people playing right now on Xbox? May I drop the link? No, you may not. Tell me where you got it. There's 15,000 people. Their all-time player peak on Steam was 66,000. So you're telling me they have 4 times their all-time player peak on Steam right now. Sea of Friends is such a tired, regurgitated argument. Yeah, Lionel just trying to sail his boat with some class like Picard in the Next Generation. Pirates aren't known for fair one-on-one prepared fights in real, are they? It's not World of Ships. Right, but that's what I mean. People talk about it like, oh, if you don't like PvP, then go away, or oh, if you don't like PvP, you're bad. It's not about PvP. It's not about that. It's never been about PvP. They bragged about launch being a few 100,000. I think 240,000 was the peak at one point. They only had 66,000 players peak on Steam. That would mean that 2/3 of that... No, wait. Hold on. That means you need 3 times that on Xbox to make up the difference. This game is great, you filthy runner. I'd say invasions are part of the Soulsborne experience, in my opinion. I hate getting invaded, but I never turn it off. Also, if people... follow duel etiquette like they did in Dark Souls 3, then invasions are genuinely... There's a site called Player Counter that's saying 288,000 players. That site's so frickin' wrong all the time. Look up any other game on that website. That site's a joke. You can't trust that website. It's not about the fighting, it's the lack of risk. It's an extraction game, which is what this is at its core. The griefer risks losing everything for dying. Wait. The griefer risks losing everything for dying. I'm not sure. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. That being said, Sea of Thieves PvP is not as fun as it's so boarding heavy. It has become heavily PC-sided and frustrating on console to a point I want to turn it off if I could. Last 30 days on Steam, 11,796. Oh, in Sea of Thieves, they don't risk. I see what you're saying. In extraction games, the griefer risks loses everything. That's right. That's right. That's the problem. They should be risking everything. Right. Like, if you go into an extraction game and you want to be heavily focused on killing other players, you're risking a ton. You're risking so much. And that's the thing with Sea of Thieves. Is like, it's just, like I said, it's a dissonant game. It's so imbalanced. It's so imbalanced. The way that people defend it, you can tell that it's imbalanced. They love it the way that it is because it's rigged in their favor. It's totally rigged in their favor. They can boot up, mess with people all night, and then they risk nothing. And now, even if you want to like take rewards away from them, like, well, I'm gonna drive off into the sunset. Frick you, man. I don't want to play PvP. You want to get this loot? You're gonna have to come and get it. Well, now they're just gonna be like, no. If you do that, they get your loot automatically. It's just gonna spawn back in the sea. And listen. At one level, I agree with that decision. At one level, I agree with that decision because in the spirit of the game, if I'm going to go grab loot and then you're going to try to kill me, allowing me to destroy the loot breaks the fundamentals of the game. Like if you dropped into the DMZ and guys started attacking you and you knew you were outnumbered, you run into a building and just like disconnect or hit a button and you destroy all your loot, well, that would be incredibly lame because everybody would do that. It was like on that episode of 30 Rock where every single time they were worried they were going to die, they would just blow themselves up with a rocket launcher so no one could get a kill. I can drop my loot, I can hide it in bounds. Right, but like once you're under attack, Eugene, it's going to be really hard to do that. That's the point. In Sea of Thieves, when somebody starts attacking you, you can tuck tail and run to the edge of the map, and then the edge of the map slowly kills you, like a storm bruise. So basically that's what people were doing. They're like, oh, you're going to attack me? I'm going to bail. You know what I'm saying? That's the risk. I should be able to waste their time. How is it in balance? I almost never get attacked, and again, I get an easy 100 to 200,000 a night. I always feel like in these debates, people just use their anecdotal experience as if that's normative. Like, the last time I tried to play Sea of Thieves, I tried to play it 4 different times, and it never went well for me, and it was always because of other players. Every single time. Now, that time I played with my brother, I just stayed really, really close to an outpost, and I just kept running forts over and over again, and that was really efficient. But all the other things that I want to do in the game, the quests that are lengthy, the puzzles that you're supposed to solve, all the treasure you're supposed to dig up, that stuff takes so freaking long, and the payout is abysmal. And if you do that stuff, that's when you get attacked because you're stationary for too long. The only reason I was able to do the what's it called, the fort thing, the fort grind worked because it was one-dimensional. Go to the fort, spend maybe 5-7 minutes killing everything, go down below, grab everything off, and then leave. And that's nice and quick. You start grabbing some of those quests, and that's when it gets ridiculous. It's not balanced. It's not balanced because if you come and mess with me, you risk nothing. You have nothing in your boat. You just spawned with your boys. You see my ship on the horizon, and you come over and mess with me. And if my response is to head for the edge of the map and say, you're not getting my loot, well, now they've made it to where, no, they're going to get your loot anyway. It's because they're favoring that type of player. And look, that's fine. You are allowed to have your target audience. You are allowed to have your target player. Have fun. I'm not gonna, once again, I'm gonna completely avoid your game. I'm not gonna play it. I'm not gonna touch it. Like, I kept hearing rumors from insiders. I kept hearing rumors from people in the Sea of Thieves community that they were going to make really good changes for people that were more PvE focused. And every time they talk about the game, I just get this weird sense that they don't have any desire at all to grow the audience. That ship has sailed, no pun intended. That stream was all I needed to see. Like, their culture at their company, it's so echo chamber. It's so insulated. They think that they think everything is great and funny and haha. It's like, okay, that's all I needed to see. I'm glad y'all get along and seemingly have a great work environment. You guys seemingly have just a great work culture. That's awesome. But it just seemed very obvious to me that they were super self-indulgent. Like, they were like, yep, we've got this documentary about making the game, and we've had all these amazing things take place, and we think our community's amazing. Okay, you're on your 9th season, and I don't see any inroads for new players, like, at all. A wanted system would work when you could play as a bounty hunter gameplay option to hunt down the pirates as like a privateer, sorta. Maybe a flag system. I think they don't want to grow. They did with Pirate's Life, and how much did that give the game? So why not focus on what the community wants? But what do you mean? Why is growing with Pirate's Life a problem? Like, so they grew with Pirate's Life, everybody came and played it, and everybody was like, this is so great, and then they just like completely walk away from that content style. I don't get it. I don't get what the point is. I don't. Like, I'm genuinely confused. I think it's always going to be one of those games where I feel genuine sadness because it just seems like it has so much potential to be like an MMO light style game that I could dump hours and hours and hours into, and they just don't seem interested. They're like, no, we're happy with the way that people play. We're happy with the player experience. We're happy with the number of players we have. I'm like, okay, y'all are clearly keeping the lights on and the money's still coming in, or they wouldn't be continuing to make content for it. Too much effort and requires licensing. Well, yeah, I definitely could see not wanting to constantly do stuff with Pirate's Life and Johnny Depp and clearly stuff that's going to have licensing and royalty share. I don't know. I felt like that was the beginning of the turning point. Like, yep, here we go. They're going to really focus on the PvE side of things. They're really going to give me the opportunity to have a game that I can enjoy as well as all the other people. The community that plays the game every month, week, and day wants Sea of Thieves story to grow on its own and really don't want a second Pirate's Life. And that's okay. I don't disagree with that necessarily. I don't need Pirate's Life per se. But the theme and the thrust of Pirate's Life was, here's PvE focus. Yeah, neither. I just don't think there's any point in debating flagging systems, PvE servers where you earn less progress, motivating people to actually get some skin in the game, creating a risk-reward element that currently doesn't exist at all, because you can boot up the game fresh. You got a fresh boat. You and your boys can take to the high seas and mess with and destroy anybody in your path, and you risk nothing. I don't think discussing that's even. It's never going to change. It's never going to change. They're happy with how things are. They genuinely look at their game and think, no, we don't need to do any of that. There's entire portions. Listen, I'm going to keep pointing to Fortnite. Fortnite no build brought so many people back to the game that had completely stopped playing. They're going to have a no build first person shooter mode next month or next season, according to a very, very reputable leaker. And do you want to know why they're doing that? Because they saw the result. There were tons of people that loved the world of Fortnite. They loved being in the game. They liked the weapons. They liked the combat to a certain degree, but they just couldn't do the building aspect. That is a central identity of Fortnite. And Epic said, let's just give the people that are not wanting to do that their own playlist. And I happen to think that if Sea of Thieves very early on would have done that, if they would have listened and thought, you know what, there's plenty of people that have zero care to do all this nonsense with fighting and sinking and anything. They don't want to do that. And if they would have given people that option, I bet you that they'd have more people playing right now. I bet you they would. I don't think I've been this negative towards a game, but that stream was just blatantly obvious as to what they're prioritizing. Take that back. Immortal is more demoralizing. Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that they were heavily focused on the cosmetics. Every 5 minutes, maybe, it was at like a 7-minute interval, he was mentioning something you could go buy in a sale that they were doing. Me and my fiance played Sea of Thieves a bit. We liked playing and doing missions. We kept getting wrecked by players in PvP. Kind of ruined the fun for her. I think a PvE only option would be nice. That's what I'm saying. Like, I tried playing with my wife. I tried playing with my kiddos, and the same thing happened. And it's like, you look at the game, and on the surface, it looks like this casual, lighthearted, fun game. They're all laughing during the streams, and your motivation to play the game is to basically do pirate dress-up. But when you get in the game, it's this hardcore punch-in-the-teeth environment where, sure, you could have nights where nothing happens. But the night where something goes bad, that's all it takes. You lose the entire night. People talk about it like it's this minor inconvenience. The way they have set the game up, if I play with any level of PvE efficiency, I'm going to have so much stuff in my boat. And all it takes is dumb, bad luck of these guys get in my game and they see me and then they come for me and I lose all that time. Like, I don't know. We've been round on this one, and I kept thinking they were going to finally turn the corner and be like, hey, this is a big, huge thing we're finally deciding to do, kind of like what Fortnite did with no build. Like, we're doing the thing that everybody said was impossible. We're doing the thing that everybody said could never work. Yeah, we're going to do that. And I think I've been holding out hope. Because I like the game so much, I've been foolishly holding out hope. And they clearly communicated today they don't want me to play their game. I am not their target audience. They self-indulged for an hour and a half, talked about how great the company is, how great the game is, how great the community is, how much the game's just been, so awesome and evolved. And then when it was time to talk about the new content, they barely talked about it. They talked about like a handful of quality of life improvements. Many of the quality of life improvements seem so blatantly obvious that you would do them. And then they run the trailer, and then that's it. And I'm like, oh, okay. That was, if anything, it was preaching to the choir, I suppose. They were targeting their existing audience and saying, here's all the stuff. Oh, and all you people out there that love to chase people, love to kill them, love to steal their stuff. Yeah, we made it easier for you now. They don't even have an exit route. If they take the time to sail to the edge of the map and scuttle their ship, yeah, you're going to get their loot anyway. That's not new content. It's quality of life and help for griefers. Yeah, like some of the things that you updated and some of the things that you changed are literally it's not even content. It's quality of life updates. Like I didn't even see that much content. I didn't. I don't know. That was a bizarre stream. It was an incredibly bizarre stream. For me, I think the bad nights are worth the 10 good nights. We only recently got back into the game after 3 years. We quit due to one bad night when we lost our first Athenas at port. Right, and that to me is, I can't count on those 10 good nights. I can't. I'm too busy. I'll be dead honest with you. My wife and I hadn't been playing games for a couple of days, and last night she's like, do you want to play our game? So we each booted up Hogwarts on our own TVs, sat there, kind of talked while we played, kind of, just spent some time talking about where we are in the game and just joking and also just talking about life, just conversating while we played some Hogwarts Legacy. And I can't have a night like that in Sea of Thieves because I'm rolling dice. And if the dice roll in the wrong way, then we get attacked, we lose everything, and I turn the game off in a sour mood. And and being like, oh, but you might have better nights down the road. How do I know? I don't have that kind of time. Her and I might play games together once or twice a week. So I'm supposed to risk 50% of my gaming evenings on a game where you're going to let some guy who's been playing the game from moment one shred me to ribbons. And then again, the times that I've played and I've been sunk by people, they don't even want my loot. They just keep on going. They don't even try to take the loot. They just sink the ship and then they just keep on sailing. This might be unlikely. Maybe they have a big PvE update planned for Season 10. Maybe they say something like, we're double digits, it's time to shake things up. I mean, maybe. Especially sucks when you only got an hour or two to play. You quest for a couple hours and get sunk on your return trip. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, power off and go to bed. That's what I'm saying, Coral Reefer. I have about a 2-hour window every night to play games or watch a show or read some books or play some board games with my wife. We kind of rotate through a variety of activities together. And if we decide we want to have a game night, a video game night, this is not the game I would ever choose because the few times we tried it, we had a terrible time. And again, we got unlucky. I'm not saying that's what will happen every time, but why would I take that risk? Why would they take it? It marks them on the map, and they're not interested in organic encounters. Right. So they promote griefing. That's exactly right, Eugene. You promote griefing. You make it to where I can't grief the griefer and take the loot out of the map. But then if they grab the loot, then they're marked. So that they're incentivized to just sink you and keep on sailing. They're incentivized to just ruin your night and then keep on going. You should be marked on the map the minute you start attacking someone or the minute you sink someone. Right? That's when you should get marked on the map. You shouldn't get marked on the map once you pick the loot up. I think as soon as you attack somebody and successfully sink them, I think it should automatically put all their loot in your boat and you get marked instantaneously. You didn't need to do that thing with they go off and they sail into the Red Sea and they scuttle their boat. No, if you sink their boat successfully, you automatically get all their loot. Now you're marked on the map. Well, I don't want to be marked on the map. Yeah, well then leave people the frick alone. It's not fun, is it? It's not fun, is it? I remember the one time we debated this. I had hardcore Sea of Thieves fans in my chat, and I said, I think the minute you attack the ship and you successfully sink them, it should automatically give you all their loot, and now you've got skin in the game. And you should be marked on the map. Well, I don't want him to do that. Oh, really? Because then all of a sudden your night could get ruined? I thought it was fun to ruin people's evenings. I thought it was fun to sink people. Pirates have bounties on their heads, do they not? I don't think you automatically get a bounty on your head just because you attack somebody. The woman in the sock hat is a streamer and a griefer. I've seen a few of her streams. I wasn't familiar with who she was. Yes, but Lono, other people aren't real. Oh, you mean in real life. Right, Eugene, right. That's the point. Yeah, if you want to be a pirate, if you want to be PvP focused, if you want to be combat focused, then that should come with inherent risk. And it doesn't. I'd fire it up again if I could just play and be left alone for sure. Isn't that part of the fantasy? That's what I'm saying, Eugene. That's exactly right. That's the inconsistency. People are like, well, it's called Sea of Thieves, not Sea of Friends. Well, okay then. If a pirate's life is what you want, then take it. You should have risk. You should be getting attacked. You should be getting marked on the map. The game wouldn't be fun if everybody left people alone. Also, fair one-on-one normal multiplayer PvP in Sea of Thieves would be terrible. It's where it's welcome day one. Like I said, people have no problem booting up this game and sinking people all evening, and the minute you start suggesting things to make that a balanced or a risky experience, they reject it. they reject it. Because I take all the risk and you take none. And the minute I suggest a system to create a little bit of balance, so that if you're going to go around and attack people all evening, you should be taking a risk as well, people don't like that. Because they like how lopsided the game is. They like the fact that they can boot up and sink people and be a jerk. And then that's, oh yeah, that didn't hurt my experience. Oh, we finally got sunk. Somebody finally found us. I guarantee you what people typically do in this game is, well, we don't have any loot, just scuttle the ship. Yeah, that guy's just going to slow us down. He's just going to attack us. Yeah, just scuttle the ship. Let's start over. I don't want people to be left alone. If there was a better tension, kind of what Eugene was driving at, like in an extraction game, if there was a better tension and you knew you were taking a big risk by attacking me, you would be less likely to just attack all of the time. Oh, that's a small ship. Let's not attack that one. We're probably not going to get a lot of loot from them. Yeah, we just got here. Let's wait a second. Let's maybe get something done. Let's get some missions done, or let's loot up first. There's no reason to hold back. As soon as you see a ship, get them, attack them. Why? We don't have any loot. Think about how lopsided your game is right now. Most of the people still playing Sea of Thieves have zero desire to do any of the grind. Like, once they're done with the seasonal grind, once they're done with the stuff, they don't have anything to do. So what are they going to do? Well, they're naturally just going to cannibalize the game. All you got to do is go and read the Steam reviews. Most people quit this game for that reason. All of their encounters with the community are negative, grief-laden experiences because the community that's stuck around, they don't have anything left to do. There's nothing left to do. They've done everything. I agree it needs more risk, but I disagree that people should be able to fully prevent it either. The attacking other people, whether they are ready or not, is generally part of the fun. Right, and I conceded that the last time I played. I said, the constant threat and me checking the horizon and me being scared something's going to happen, there's something about that that's really appealing. But knowing that the game is super lopsided with respect to risk and reward, it makes me never want to play it because I know what I'm going to run into. Late in the season, what am I going to run into? It's just going to be a bunch of people that are bored. They've done everything. They've no-lifed the game since the moment it came out, and there's only one thing left for them to do: sink people. Do they need my loot? Do they need my stuff? No, they don't need any of it. They don't need any of that stuff. That's all that's left to do. Steam shows recent and all reviews being very positive. I'm sure there are complaints, but overwhelmingly it's praise. Yeah, but here's the problem with that, Narwaffle. The one day I went and read like 4 or 5 positive reviews, and it was literally people saying, I love the game, but. I love the game, but. They couldn't ridicule the game because of what other people were doing. They were going to give it a bad score, right? It currently has a 90%. Well, it's an 88 the last 30 days. Plenty of people, I went and read positive reviews, and they're like, yeah, I can't get anything done. It's a great game, but I just got attacked. I wish we could find all those reviews we found the one time. They were literally people giving it a thumbs up, and they're like, it's an amazing game. I had so much fun, but... This guy's saying it's a great game except for the squeakers. I remember reading reviews on stream, and it was people giving it a thumbs up and saying it's a great game, but I had to stop playing because I just constantly get attacked. I constantly get griefed. Game and mechanics are great, but the people suck, basically. Yeah, I can't find any right now. But there were plenty of people that were like, you know, I try to play this game. I try to love this game. I wish I could play it. Like, I don't think I could give it a bad score. I always praise this game. I say it's one of the most pleasant games to be in. New players typically quest and grind, while experienced players want to PvP. It makes it a hard experience for people trying to learn the game. The moment I get killed by another player and I don't see them loot me, they're not playing the game. They're playing a game no one else is playing. It's like the bully that takes the ball and runs away instead of playing the game. Right, and that's what was so frustrating whenever I was trying to play. Here's a guy who gave it a good score, right? And he updated it recently in March. And he says, you know, pros and cons. And one of the cons is PvP mechanic is old and boring. I don't know, maybe they need to add some new guns or mechanics. Server issues, some events only visible. Overall, the game has its problems, but I still love the concept. If you're a veteran, please help new players and don't bully them. That's what I do, and I would have loved to be helped when I first started. So please do so. They will always remember. Thank you, fellow legends. Now he's saying hit registration is still a problem. Lobby waiting time, server region, some FPS optimization. Yeah. So again, he's like, man, I love this game, and he's calling on the veterans to like, hey, welcome people into the game, because, you know, it would have been nice if people did that for me when I first tried to play. Repeatedly attacking others without looting could trigger the server to spawn larger, harder NPC ships to attack just as a risk, and it would distract them from attacking more ships. Here's the problem with that, Ryan. That sounds great, doesn't it? Do you know what they would do? The minute they would trigger that, they would just scuttle their ship. You just scuttle your ship and start over somewhere else, or leave the server and go to another one. They don't have any skin in the game. That's the problem. They don't have to loot, right? They don't have to loot. They don't have to turn anything in. That's what I'm saying, is whenever the last couple times I played, that's all that would happen to me. My interactions with other players were, they would sink me and they would keep right on sailing. They didn't need my loot. They didn't even want it. Some veterans do help new people, but new people start shooting you and that you might want to help. What do? Shoot back. Right, and Jocko, you don't know if that's just endemic to their experience at that point. They might be shooting back because every time they see somebody, they get shot. So they're just sort of preemptively saying, well, I mean, everybody shoots me in this game. Keep using that word, but it has to be organic. I mostly disagree with the changes you wanted in the past, but I agreed it's better for the game, and I thought the devs would agree with you and make those changes as well, but they seem to be doubling down on this current playstyle. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I concluded that from today's stream. I was like, today's stream tells me all I need to know. They still have zero interest in me as a player, and I think there's a lot of me. I got news for you. If they launched a Sea of Thieves 2, right? If they launched a Sea of Thieves 2 and they did a big marketing push, day and date on Game Pass, show it off at, you know, the Xbox Bethesda showcase, and they offered a PvE experience, I got to tell you, I think that game would crush. They would crush. Now, that doesn't mean you can completely avoid other pirates and PvP, but just an option, some way to be like, hey, there is this way of playing, but if you heavily incentivize people to be in the PvP environment because maybe they earn like 3 times as much gold, 3 times as much experience or something, you would keep the PvP environment healthy. You would keep people in the organic environment there. I was really enjoying Sea of Thieves, says Ashen, until one of the big streamers got done with the stream, had tons of loot, and just flat out said, I don't care, can't be bothered to sell all this. I see 3 veterans help 2 kids do a tall tale once. They would never do the tale if the game was only PvE servers, and stories like that happens more than people think. Why would that not happen in a PvE environment, Jocko? Why? That happened all the time in Destiny in a purely PvE environment, helping people run different quests, helping people run Black Spindle and other things. What do you mean? Why would a PvE environment prevent people from helping each other? PvE only servers will be like Year 1, Sea of Thieves, dead. Who cares if they're dead if people are going in and having fun? What does it matter to you? People said the same thing about no build in Fortnite. People said the exact same thing about no build in Fortnite. That's not Fortnite. What in the world? Who's going to play that? Apparently, it was so popular, they're adding a no build first person mode. because there's plenty of people that played and enjoyed it. A PvE only version of Sea of Thieves would not be popular or worth the investment. I mean, that is 100% a prediction you can make. I can make the prediction that it would be popular. Fortnite has a larger audience, so what does that have to do with it? It would be according to the game's scale, would it not? Like, you're honestly going to look at Steam charts. You're going to look at Sea of Thieves Steam charts, and you're going to sit here and tell me that currently there's 12,000 people playing right now, and you're telling me those 12,000 people would leave if there was PvE only servers. The number wouldn't go up, it would go down. That doesn't even make any sense. PvE only servers in a game like Sea of Thieves won't have other people in it. Will only be you and you alone. No, why would you be alone? Why would you be alone? You would create PvE environments that would be fun to do, right? Like a world event happens, a big ship shows up, a big enemy shows up. There's forts, there's raids, there's all kind of things where you could organically run into other people and help them and work with them. What are you talking about? You would literally look for other people. You'd be like, I want to see what other people are doing. I want to go help them. I want to maybe steal some of the loot. WoW has PvE only servers and you see people all the time. Right. I would love PvE servers. My issue with Sea of Thieves is not very approachable for new players. Right, like, isn't that okay, forget the PvE server debate for just a second. Just forget that debate for 1 second and let me ask a simple question. This long into the life cycle of the game, isn't it a fair question for me to ask, how are you making the game approachable to new players? That feels like a fair question. That feels like a fair question. I saw nothing today. I've seen nothing in any of their announcements or updates that what are you doing to make me want to come back in or anybody come in for the first time? What are you doing to invite new players in? Literally the first review I get says broken surprise. This guy says, I got in with 3 mates, sailed out, got treasure, ship got attacked from an enemy, destroyed enemy, took their loot, sold their loot, got drunk, started a pirate band, and then burned down our ship. Then we all went home to play Sea of Thieves. That's funny. That's pretty funny. That's well done. Yeah, PvE doesn't mean solo. What on earth? That is why I hear people when they take out the PvE servers, just you, nobody. And how will you keep your loot safe if there are other PvE servers in the game? What do you mean? Yes, people could still steal your loot, but it'd be a lot harder. They'd have to hop on your ship and take a treasure chest, and then you'd sail off. Oh, that guy got me for a chest. Oh, no big deal, right? He can't sink your ship, and 2 hours of work falls into the water, and you're dead. Devs answered your question today. They think their community is awesome. Really good point, Viking. I think maybe Halo was similar, just the last game had a lot of issues. Destiny has PvE, and it far outweighs PvP players. Yeah, there's plenty of evidence out there that you can do something that seems really contrary, and it ends up working really, really well. The makers of Halo made a PvE-focused game. Fortnite added a no-build mode, and they were greatly successful at doing this. I've wanted to get into Sea of Thieves, but every time I try to start, I get murdered fast. I also try to solo, which always seems impossible, so I stopped trying. That still sounds like griefers. Steal loot? Okay, Jocko, I want you to compare that when I go to port to turn something in, there's pirates there, and they jump on my ship, and maybe they steal 1 or 2 treasure chests, and I'm like, oh, frick, there's people here, and I sail away, or I fight them off, right? Well, maybe I can't shoot them, but they can steal, right? I can't shoot them, they can't shoot me, but you can steal, right? Okay, that's not that big of a deal. I lost a treasure chest or 2. In the current way the game works, if I spend 2 hours looting, and I go to turn in, and I get sunk, and I die, I lose all of it, I'll never get back to it. I'll never get the stuff back. I make no progress. 2 hours of my life gone because of bad luck. What I'm hearing is make it fair, and if you can't do that, give us our own servers. I think that's a fair assessment, yeah. Yeah. There's no risk in PvP. There's no risk to griefers. There's no risk for people that just want to sail and sink ships because they're bored and they've run out of stuff to do. And hey, that's perfectly fine. If you run out of stuff to do, I'm not going to sit here and act like you should get inventive. Is there a tutorial for new players that gives them a separate instance, giving them time to learn the game before tackling the rest of the game? You'd have to ask people who've jumped in brand new. I have no idea. When my wife and I jumped in for the very first time, I was literally teaching her how to use the boat, and we got attacked. We were docked. The boat hadn't moved yet. We were on our boat, and I was trying to teach her how to use the boat, and we got attacked, and we got sunk. They didn't even care. They just kept driving by and shooting us, and then once we were sunk, they just kept on going. So we had to start all the way over, respawn, and get back on the boat. And I was like, well, hopefully that means the rest of the night we'll have better luck and no one will see us. Oh, there is a tutorial now? The game can track when a chest has been placed on your ship. It wouldn't be hard to lock it out from other players. Yeah, I mean, instance loot wouldn't be that difficult. Hesitation is defeat, apparently. Could you have it so all your loot goes in a chest on the boat, and when you're sunk, you lose 25%, for example? Yeah, there's been so many suggestions, Brownie, about, like, creating something that makes it either less painful for me to get sunk and lose everything, or make it more painful and risky for people attacking. It's super lopsided. That's the point, and that's why I refuse to play. It's like, you've literally designed the game and invited people to boot up, take no risk, take no treasure, take no quests, and sink people who are taking all of the risk. And when I lose big time. And when they lose nothing. That's the problem. That's why after 9 seasons, I'm like, you know what? Just give me my own server. I can't be bothered to interact with this community that you think is so amazing. Because every time I've tried to come back to your game, they have run me off. They've run me off. It's like, wow, what an amazing community. I was in your game for 5 minutes and people were messing with me. Currently, the only way to play the game and enjoy it is to become the griefer that you hate. Ruining others' gaming experience seems to be the only way to play the game and enjoy it. Or Quiet Shy, you just accept the massive amount of risk. You accept it. You're like, yeah, that's fine. I like it enough to take the risk. But where the risk? The risk makes the game interesting and fun. Without the risk, the game loses its identity. You know, it's funny that you say without the risk, it loses its identity when PvPers literally take no risk. Like, in one breath, you summarize the problem accidentally. Oh, if they remove the risk for PvE players, yeah, the game loses all of its identity. What are you talking about? PvP players take no risk. I could play this game every night. I could grab 2 people from the Discord and be like, all right, guys, let's go. Sail the high seas and do nothing but sink people. And we lose nothing if we get sunk or if we fail or if we die. We lose nothing. You could say we might lose our time. Like, oh, well, if you had a really unsuccessful night, we lose nothing. There's no risk. That's what's so funny to me, is people argue for inherent endemic risk or the game is boring, and yet that's one of my primary criticisms, is there is no inherent endemic risk for PvP players. They take no risk. You're agreeing with me. You're just saying, if I suddenly have no risk, the game is boring. You're perfectly fine with PvPers and griefers and PvP-focused players. You're fine with them taking no risk. But the minute that I have no risk, it's a problem. That feels very slanted and biased. That feels incredibly slanted and biased. As if the only people that are supposed to take risk are the dumb, poor sods who boot up the game for the first time and have no idea what they're in for, and they start trying to grind quests, and they get killed. They go to turn in all their chests, and they get killed. Or like me, like a dog returning to vomit. I'm like, well, maybe it'll be better this time, and every time I've tried to come back to this game, it's just basically told me, no, you don't want to play this game. It's telling that the argument against PvE servers is that the PvP servers will die. Doesn't that mean people actually don't want to PvP then? Well, listen. Yeah, Ryan, that's exactly right. They're basically admitting if you give people a way to escape, they'll take it. Like, I don't know. Oh yeah, people are so sick of being attacked that they were literally sailing outside of the map and scuttling their ships to the point that the devs had to respond and say, you can't do that anymore. Gee, it's almost as if people don't like that. It's almost as if people don't like being attacked and having all their stuff taken. It's just crazy to me that at every turn, it's like, yeah, if you let people avoid this, they're gonna avoid this, so don't let them avoid it. Okay, guess what I do to avoid it? I don't play. Like, that's what I do. It's a pirate game. That's my favorite defense. It's so thoughtful. You need 5,000 worth of loot on your ship before you can damage a player's ship. They've quite literally cultivated a community of griefers. There's no way to turn PvP off at all? No, Vaughn, there's no way to turn it off. If you're in the game, you can get sunk. I'm not kidding you, Vaughn. The last time I tried to play this, 2 different nights, 2 separate nights, I didn't even get to leave port, and my ship got sunk. I was showing my wife how to interact with the ship, and we got attacked and sunk. Another time, she was upstairs showering, and I was filling the boat with bananas and cannonballs, waiting for her to come down, and the ship got sunk. It's like, I'm not even doing anything. I can't even get out of port. I can't even get out of port. Oh, it's a pirate game. Yeah, I don't play. I found if you want a good experience in Sea of Thieves, you need to steal your own boat and put a crying chest on your own boat or cuddle with your bro on the beach. Outside of that, Sea of Thieves is a train wreck. Or eat a cheeseburger like you stole it, Hilly. That's right. The game is designed up from the ground up to be PvPvE, so yeah, removing an aspect would likely hurt it, but adding stakes, balancing encounters and such wouldn't be a big ask. You know what's funny? You know what's funny, Reese's? And you know what's really telling about the audience that still plays this? They've never attempted to balance it. Why? Because most of the audience is griefing. That's all the proof you need. That's all the proof you need. Seriously, think about it. The developers have never attempted to balance that. Do you want to know why? Because their audience would get really angry. Why? Because their audience love the imbalance of it. They love the fact that they don't have any risk. If adding risk to PvP focused players or griefers, if adding that was so sensible, as even people here today have admitted, well, why would they never do it? It's very simple. The people that are still playing the game would be very upset at that prospect. Look at the consistent response that we get every single time I've covered Sea of Thieves. If you suggest any pain or risk for PvP focused players, they reject it. If you suggest a way for people to just play PvE, they reject it. They called people runners in a trailer today. Take that, runners. The people that run from PvP and don't want to be attacked and scuttle their ship outside the map because they're annoyed. There you go. That's all the proof you need. That's all the proof you need. That is the community they've fostered. That is the community that they love. Because if you suggest any risk or pain for the PvP focused players, they push back and revolt. If you suggest a PvE environment, they say, oh, you're going to kill the game. Because they know that's where everybody would go. Apparently, only PvP griefers play the game because they think the game would be dead if they have to face risk. How large is the current community? Not very large. There's 12,000 people playing on Steam. There's probably slightly more than that on Xbox. They don't like a one crew ship running from an outmatched fight. Well, what people were doing, Hilly, is that they were sailing their ship outside of the map where you slowly die from the storm, and they would just sail all the way till their ship got destroyed, and then all the loot would be in that water and no one could get to it. Don't you think it's interesting that that is something people started doing? Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that a game that supposedly it's all about being a pirate and get good and yeah, this is exactly how it should work. Isn't it funny that even after 8 seasons that trend emerged? That's crazy, isn't it? It's almost as if when they focused on PvE content and stories and adventures and a pirate's life, they brought a bunch of people back to the game that came up with their own creative way to give a middle finger to people attacking them, and the developers are like, no, we cannot abide that. No, you're gonna take the beating and like it. They think the game would be dead with PvE servers. It already is dead. 15,000 players is nothing. I'd break my PS5 before letting someone steal it. Like, what are they thinking? I'm telling you. Listen, you always have to analyze player behavior. You always have to analyze player behavior and ask, why is this happening? Why did so many people, why did the trend create or develop? Why did this trend develop that people were sailing outside of the map and letting their ship get destroyed so that people couldn't get their loot? Why was that happening? Because people are sick of it. They're like, I just want to play, man. Leave me alone. If the only thing I can do to fight back against a bigger crew than me is to waste their time and to sail out into the open sea and make them chase me and then scuttle my ship so they can't get my loot, then that's my prerogative. If that's what I want to do, that's my prerogative. Frick you. You're not getting my loot. And the developers are like, oh no, they're getting your loot. They're getting your loot. It's people that mark then the people and run. This is why people call them Reaper runners. Reapers make yourself as PvP. So get mad for marking yourself for PvP and then running. Paul says, give me one reason. If the core of the gameplay loop is boring, that's a problem that they should be addressing. It's a natural response. You waste the time of the people trying to waste yours. That's right. Can you sail outside the map now? How have they stopped it? Okay, so Hellfire, if you sail outside of the map and then the storm out there, the Red Sea is what it's called. When the Red Sea destroys you and your ship, your loot will get transported back to safe waters for people to grab. I bet after a month or two, PvE will have nobody playing. You get loot, get the XP, and after a month, you have everything. No risk at all. People will get bored and stop playing. They already are bored and stop playing. Do you honestly think the player numbers are impressive, Jocko? You're talking as if the game is flourishing. You're talking as if the game has a vibrant player base. It doesn't. Oh, and you know what's interesting? You basically just admitted that everybody griefs once they get done with all of that. Like, listen to your line of reasoning, Jocko. Really think about what you're saying. The core game, the PvE and the XP is so boring that once you're done with all of the seasonal stuff, once you're kind of done with whatever's new, you're just bored. Yeah, it's no wonder that that's all people do now, because they've done everything. What is there left to do other than to sink people? Why would you need my loot? You don't need my XP? You don't need my loot. You don't need my treasure. You don't need any of it. You just basically said that the game has so little to offer that once you're done with that content, you'd get bored and stop playing. And so the only reason people are playing is why? Because they can attack each other. They can attack other people. What is that, 2 cell phones now? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, listen to the logic. You're basically saying that the game is so bad and so boring. Like, you're basically arguing that, yeah, all the people left, they're just griefing. Paul says, being bored by the content loop is a problem that they should be actively addressing, not making it worse. The game is 5 years old and still going, better than year 1. If Rare, after 5 years, don't focus on getting new people and giving people in the community what they want, they're doing better than Anthem. I mean, sure, you can compare yourself to a dead game and say you're doing better, but look at the player base numbers. An ongoing game after 5 years only having 15,000 people. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to call it. If they were not owned by Microsoft, I have a hard time believing this game would still be out. If they were purely dependent upon profit margins, ongoing monetization, and an ongoing player base, this game would be dead. It wouldn't even be around. It's only still around because Big Daddy Microsoft is keeping the lights on. How do they have enough people to keep the company running and the servers running? Like, where is it all coming from? They don't have that many players. What other live service games in 5 years are still going strong? Destiny, Diablo 3, WoW, Path of Exile, Elder Scrolls Online. I don't understand. You could even look at Elder Scrolls Online. I don't even know what their Steam charts look like. Yeah, I mean, Elder Scrolls Online right now on PC has 18,000. And I think they're even in a drought right now, are they not? They have their big content thing coming in June. You know, ESO has more people playing right now. Yeah, Final Fantasy 14. People are saying the game's about to be dead, but Rare is still adding an update and doing a lot for their players. Right, but I just am genuinely curious, how is this game commercially successful? How is this game commercially still going? Do they really sell that many microtransactions? They don't have a very big player base. Yeah, ESO's on console. That's true. So you take that 18,000 and you multiply it a couple of times, and then you multiply it by all the people within those sales funnels that are doing the Crown Store, and you can start to make sense of why ESO is still around. ESO also has their own launcher. That's true, so we might not be getting the full count of the PC player base. What are the many platforms that they play on? Steam? Sea of Thieves is popular on Xbox. We really don't get a player count on Xbox. Yeah, but Jocko, you can look at most played games, and Sea of Thieves is super far down on the rank, which tells you that it's not doing that well even on Xbox. You can see that it's not one of their most played games. You can see it. It's like, what was it? Xbox most played games. Where's that link? Here it is, most played games. Okay, so I've got 50 games listed here, and obviously you've got the top 4 this isn't even surprising. You've got Call of Duty, Fortnite, Apex, and Destiny, and Grand Theft Auto right up there. And then the next line, not surprising at all, Roblox, Hogwarts, Rainbow Six, 2K, Minecraft, right? Madden, Overwatch, Rocket League, Forza, Atomic Heart, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Elden Ring have more people playing their game than Sea of Thieves. Dead by Daylight has more people playing. There's more people playing Halo Infinite. There's more people playing Fallout and Skyrim. There's more people playing For Honor, Farming Simulator, and Fall Guys and Fallout. There's Sea of Thieves right there. Sea of Thieves is down here with the Elder Scrolls Online. So you could make the argument, hey, they seem to be doing step in step with the Elder Scrolls Online. Okay, but that was why my question was asked in the way that it was. How are they making the money to commercially support this game? Elder Scrolls has the Crown Store. They basically have that subscription funnel set up. Elder Scrolls is also on other platforms, right? Final Fantasy XIV has 24,000 players online. So Sea of Thieves is down here with Elder Scrolls Online, but it's beneath a bunch of other live service games. So that's my point. Is it's like if they're down there and then they have roughly 12,000 people on Steam on Sea of Thieves, how are they making their money? I genuinely am curious. Yeah, Sims 4 and Smite. Monthly subscriptions? Yeah, you also have to remember that Elder Scrolls Online is also in other places. They have their own launcher, so we can't purely use their Steam numbers as an indication of how many people are playing their game. And how old is the Elder Scrolls Online, and how long has it been since they've done a content ad? Like, Elder Scrolls Online's in a bit of a drought, right? Like, their big thing is coming in June, which will likely skyrocket them. I don't expect Sea of Thieves. Smite is a really approachable MOBA. It's a pretty approachable MOBA, massive online battle arena, or multiplayer online battle arena. I don't expect Sea of Thieves to pull the same numbers as the top. I'll even give it to you. I don't expect them to pull top 15. I don't. The top 15 are tough. These are big titles, right? I would expect them to be at least in the top 20, though. Top 20 or 25. Because, again, you've got an amazing game. They have an amazing sandbox. I think part of the reason I get so invested in this and I get so irritated is I look at Sea of Thieves and I think the seasonal format, the cosmetics, the world, the sailing, the sandbox, even their passion and their commitment to the game. I'm like, bro, this game could be so much more than just come back and pray people don't grief you. It just seems like there's so much more potential being wasted on insisting. It feels like one of those games that has been shackled by its own community. Its community has ravenously fought against any whiff or smell of being friendly to PvE, of being friendly to non-PvP players. They have shackled this game. And that, to me, is not a sign of health. I think sometimes you have to be willing to do the thing that your community thinks is the wrong decision, just like Fortnite doing a no-build mode. What am I looking at there, Eugene? Let's be real. Microsoft wouldn't be supporting this game if it wasn't performing at least well in their eyes. They would happily cut development or close the game if it didn't reach quotas. I don't think we can presume that, Gale. I don't think we can presume that. Because we don't know. We don't even know how big Rare is right now. Oh, the top 25 in Steam. Got it. I don't think we can presume that, oh yeah, it's making money. Microsoft will pour money down a drain if they think that it might end up working. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's so hard to look at Microsoft's business decisions lately and think that, like, they're not keeping Rare and Sea of Thieves going purely for the branding. Yeah, Sea of Thieves is 83rd on Steam. It's 83rd on Steam. Barely above Cyberpunk, for crying out loud. It's got less players than Satisfactory and Brawlhalla. Golly. What if you had to buy a permit for PvP, like in in-game cost, like 5,000 gold? If you die, you have to buy another one. So there's a cost to participate in PvP. Again, I think the biggest problem that you're going to run into right now, Coral Reefer, is the people that are still playing the game. The people that are still playing this game are so bloated and so rich. I think that I think they've slowly cannibalized the game. That's what I think. I don't think you could ever incentivize them enough. I don't think you could. I think that's the problem. They're so fat. They're so wealthy. It's like, I don't need to do anything else. I'm going to grab my boys on a Friday night. We're going to crack open some beers and we're going to hunt people down. We don't need loot. We don't need treasure. We don't need money. And when a player gets to that point, if you don't give them something else to do, that's all they're going to do. That is true. People have like 300 million gold in the game. Yeah, I just think that's one of the issues that they've run into is that they have these absolute whales in the game, and I just feel like they're sitting on the game. They're just sitting on it. Like, game is never going to be receptive to new players. It's never going to be something that you feel like you can jump into this late. And if they're okay with that, I mean, it's their game. I mean, if they're okay with that, then by all means, baby, keep going. Keep going. But I happen to think I see so much potential for something else in this game. I always have, and I always will. I will always pull for this game to turn things and change things so that somebody like me could come and play it, and folks in chat that constantly say it, like they could come and play it. I think that there's something to be said for that. I do. There's no way to tell how many of those Sea of Thieves players are only on Xbox since PC players can use Game Pass to play. I mean, true. PS5 sales surge over 300% in the UK during February. Jiminy Christmas. Game looks great and has fun quests. Just a shame it's too miserable of an experience to enjoy. G Fuel is celebrating Contra. You can sign up for a wait list. Why am I getting emailed about this? That the box art is pretty hot. I can't support G Fuel, but my gosh. That box art is amazing. This is good. It's really good, chat. All right, I need to go hang out with members for a teeny little bit. I need to gift you guys, unless you guys want to go crazy and take a bunch of people hostage. If you guys want to start the month strong, you could try to get us to 50 members. We would need 17 more. If not, no big deal. I will gift. Only stream that followed. Oh, golly. Whoops. Where is the stream that I just scheduled? I don't understand. Does it only go there if... I don't understand. Does the live stream that I just scheduled only go on that playlist once I'm live, maybe? YouTube has made some changes. I'm going to have to go to the back end and get this live stream for members. I want to get members all caught up on what's going on, why there was no stuff over the weekend, power outage. It's going to be a short stream. But I want to get them all caught up. I tell you what, if you guys want to take anybody with us and gift any members, do that now. I'm going to refill my water and use the restroom before we switch gears. Guys, if you enjoyed this conversation, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you smash like. We only need 40 more likes for 300 likes. That'd be a great ratio for a stream that obviously didn't really do much for us because there wasn't much. They didn't say much. I feel like the discussion, the debate has been really enjoyable. We welcome disagreement and discussion. Consider becoming a member and not waiting for people to gift. It's only $5 a month. You can click the $ at the bottom of the chat. That's why you see so many names in chat with a joystick next to their name. So, Season 9 comes out March 15th. I'll be right back. Okay. All right. Let me gift the 5 that I owe. Hang on 1 second. One second. Whoop. Bit of a inception there. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for the debate, Jocko. I don't care if people don't see it my way, that's fine. I mean, it was a good, respectful debate. I stand by that. I stand by their player base numbers would go way up if they did what I've said. I don't think you can only go up when you're only pulling 12 to 15,000 on Steam. I don't think you can go lower than that. I think you can only go up. I don't think their numbers are that impressive. I don't think they'd be under threat if they made significant changes like that. All right, there you go. You guys can come with us. We're going to go hang out with members for about 30 minutes and just update on everybody on what's going on. Click the link in chat to come with us, or just ride the redirect. But what wasn't heated? You weren't heated at all. I thought this was an enjoyable debate compared to the frickin' Xbox ones we've had lately. Golly. Hey, welcome to another member stream. I am really sorry to all you members that might have been looking for the double-header horror weekend over the weekend. I had no power. No electricity. Kentucky got rocked by some windstorms. My city alone had over 290,000 people without power, so both Friday and Saturday I was in the dark. I got it back super late Saturday night. So your doubleheader horror weekend will be this weekend. We will jump in. That'll be the 10th and the 11th. The 10th and the 11th. And then the following weekend, we'll probably do the Star Wars Saturday night thing. We will keep you apprised on that. Let me end the previous stream about Sea of Thieves and redirect